Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Salam. Taran. Salam. Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. Also, oh no, not today, please. Not today. Yeah. Alaikum salam. Alaikum salam.
gede kolam pomo mamudu loro yujoli gala mano karadi bi mamudu lo ila kiyama magadi karuna rotilanya akambo bidai lezo jual bumo matarade jual bumo watameru jual bumo watajubam le jalla jakunang bom Paida jabai rotilanya kurnyergen ifat bom yakinae Kulutilo jamule mundeni kibeti atiri Yangwen kulalo pada gede punya kunye otonos malam jakat tudungin Dengar ya kerana ngonje bom gurur Kula ya kumau mule koro idodom Aku tunda coba pumulo yigi volpo panjang sosok jamam demer mini tiatinde jual kuma pao tazil didoy tazil didoy Kalbala dim katamay bomunda chanruget uru tazil didoy yakuma karatulod Albala dim katana bomuda januru udutazi ketedo yapu malabadun kede kalam bomu mamudu loro yutoli galamano karadi bi mamudu ila kiyama magadi karuna rotilanya akambo bidai lezo jual bumo matarade jual bumo watameru jual bumo watajubam le jalla jakunang bom Paida jabai rotilanya kunyergen ifat bom yakinae
يا ده كان غنى من أكوانة أنا مرليه كنت نشكر. طبعا زي ما احنا قلنا معنى غنى ده قبل كده شرحناه قلنا معنى تو بسيط باختصار إنه صاحب الأغنية ده غنى غنى ده قبل 6 أو 7 سنوات to be precise. هو بغني بيقول إنه شباب بتاع مرليه ناس بتاع مرليه خلوا بالهم لأنهم سمعوا بإنه جبل بوما باعوا برا أو منطقة بتاع بيبور باعوا برا. فبالتالي موضوع بتاع جبل بوما أو منطقة بتاع بيبور ده لو في أي زول داير يتكلم فيه بيبور عنده أهله عنده سلاطين عنده شباب بتاعه عنده ناس بتاعه هم يا بيتكلم في قضايا ده لو في زول داير يواجه بتاعهم. عشان كده بنصح ناس بتاع المنطقة يخلوا بالهم كتير في حاجات اللي بيحصل في المنطقة بتاعهم لأنه هو سمع إنه أخبار ده قبل 7 سنين أظن ده ما جديد. إنه بنشكره كتير وبنحييكم كلكم أخواننا وأخوات في جنوب السودان وفي خارج جنوب السودان في موضوع مهم الليلة إحنا دايرين نتكلم في topic. This topic is very essential and important for us as the people of South Sudan as we have seen what is taking place in Kenya. That's why we came with this topic and it's very clear. It says what lessons are the GZ like G or Generation Z in Kenya teaching the South Sudanese. This is very important point because we need to relate, we need to connect, we need to see what actually went wrong. You know why we're saying this? there is a reason for us saying, actually coming today with this topic, to not only to analyze but to reflect into ourselves and what actually has happened, and which lesson that the people of South Sudan will learn out of this. So without dwelling too much into explaining this way, I want to greet all of you, for those who will come to watch the live video that here in YouTube, plus also in Clubhouse is running, and for those who will come and listen later. So if you want to go, we check things. First of all, when you hear this generation or GZ, what is GZ? ده سؤال اللي احنا بنسأل نفوسنا. What is GZ? Yeah. يا ريت يا جماعة ناس اللي في يوتيوب، معلش ناس اللي في if you come across the video now in YouTube, ناس اللي في يوتيوب بس copy the link, please copy the link and then go and post it in your Facebook or any forum in Facebook. Before you post it right away, just first, when you copy and paste, wait until the video opens, and then you can now post it. So it will be open, people will be able to join as well. So anyways, I appreciate those who are actually sharing the video around, and those who are already watching. So without dwelling too much, as I said, my brothers and sisters, people normally hear about the GZ or GZ, let's say, or like Generation Z. What is it? Kalam Dushinuzata, when we're talking about Generation Z or GZ here. Regarding this topic of today, we are talking about, the Kenyan, what lessons are the GZ in Kenya teaching the South Sudanese. So from here later, we'll talk in different perspective. We have to look at our professions, our faith-based group, the civil society, the leaders of South Sudan, the people of South Sudan, the youth of South Sudan. So we have to look at those perspectives and then look at our situation. Are we really doing something as responsible people who actually chose to have a country? By the way, we are the one who voted for this country. We say we want to have a country. We voted for it. Therefore, we have to be responsible. So when we are going to talk based on those perspectives, like whether faith-based, civil society, youth, women, or what have you, we'll come into that. So when we want to know what is this, actually this, what do they call it, GZ or whatever. This is actually generations. There are a category of generation from particular year to year. There, along the history or along our life, you will see each generation have particular things that they are interested in, or even they are aware of, or they are best in something. Those are generations. So based on the category of what the new world today, we can actually say that the generation builders, let's say the builders born, or let's say from 1946, they are the generation that build almost what we are enjoying today. When we say the generation of 1946, those are the generation that actually build everything that we are enjoying today, to be honest. Okay, if we're talking about this, and then you have another generation that we might actually call them like baby bombers born of 1946 to 1964. If you look at this generation, they actually produce a lot of babies. They are high in fertilities. يعني ناس نشيطين جدا. The rate of 3 to 5%, they are women, okay, at the time. So look at this generation of from 1946 to 1964. This generation, al-wulid iyal kutar, many children. So it's very important why I have to start with definition of this, what we call the GZ, so we can read there and then you will know. And then again, you have this generation, what we call the X generation. This generation, we put them in category, like for instance, in this rate of the year from 1965 to 1979. This generation in particular, this is an anti-establishment generation having a mindset of resisting the what? Resisting authorities. ديل يعني احنا نقول ممكن نسميه ده سوار، احنا نسميهم ده ثورينجية لو خدناه when we put them in this category of form of revolution of activeness. So if كنا ونسنا تا 46 لحد 64 ديل جنريشن اللي كان بيولدوا ما شاء الله، كان يعني بتحس انه يعني هم عندهم خصوبة عالية كويس. and then in the generation بتاع 1965 ل 79 كويس. generation ده generation اللي هم يعني اللي احنا سميناه ديلك الاول ديل هم fertility. and then في generation بتاع هم دقيقة سوري عشان ما نلخبط الكلام. يلا في الجنريشن بتاع 46 الاول انا قلت ده الجنريشن الامل شنو اللي هم يبنوا حاجات اللي احنا هسه بنستمتع بها، جاء جنريشن بتاع 46 ل 64 ده جنريشن انه عندهم هاي فاتيليتي، الخصوبه العليا في ولاده كتير، خاصه في النسبه العاليه. حاجه النسبه عاليه بتاعهم كان 3.5 ده الاغلبيه بتاعهم كان نسوان في الزمن ده، عدد كبير جدا. بعد ذاك بقى عندك جنريشن بتاع اكس. the next generation is the generation X. generation X ده بتاع اللي هو في age بتاع 1956 ل 19 هو 79. generation ده it's an anti-establishment generation having in the mindset بتاعهم they are resisting authority ضد السلطات اللي بيمارس القمع فيهم. ده generation ده كويس. بعد ذاك عندك generation Y اللي هو Y او ايش شنو ده اللي هو بيسووا ابسلون في اللغات الثانيه اللي هو Y اللي هو generation ده generation بتاع بيبدا من 1980 to 1994. this generation in particular generation Y for them ده generation بتاع 81 اللي هو بتاع 1980 لحد 94 ده الجنريشن اللي بيعرفوا حياة الحب وشنو ادفنشر، ده اللي دارين يعيشوا. you see this generation here they are actually more into love and life and adventure، مغامرات، يعني دارين يعيشوا في مغامرات. ده generation ده. تعال هنا في جنريشن بتاع زي ده اول احنا قاعدين نتكلم عنه. ده جنريشن حسي انت لو شفت في توبيك ده what lesson are GZ or GZ in Kenya teaching the South Sudanese. تعال هنا let's come to generation Z or Z. The generation Z they are the generation born between 1995 to 2009. This generation in particular, this is the generation which is very conscious about economic, social and political issues. generation ده اللي هو بتاع مولود في عام 1995 لعام 2009 ده generation اللي هم عندهم وعي عن الوعي الاقتصادي، وعي الاجتماعي والوعي السياسي. شفت كيف؟ ده مهم جدا when we are talking about this generation. So this is what you guys are seeing them here. في generation تاني برضو ده الجنريشن اللي احنا ذاتنا احنا كان في National Salvation Front بعدين احنا we look at them more. Generation let's say Alpha generation. Alpha generation ده قاعدين نزيد فيه اللي هم مولودين they are born from year 2010 to 2024. This generation we can actually put them .com generation. We expect more. احنا يعني في تطلعات كثيره احنا بنطلع لهم كثير لانه جنريشن ده جنريشن على ان ذاتنا كناس احنا وهو we here you know looking more for their future. Those are the generation that we are interested at because those are the generation of .com. From today, even if you see can they اللي انت بتلقاه مثلا في age المولود يا من 2010 ده, you will find this generation they are actually well connected. Let's say .com. When we talk of .com here, we're talking of the basically the new year age of internet or what have you. They are so connected. All their business is done by internet. They're connecting everything. Politics, it's also connected to internet. The websites and whatever advertisement. Or also you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have all the kind of medias, and you have Facebook, you have whatever media that across you. Those are this generation, okay? And this is the alpha generation. But the generation that we're talking about, the generation Z, those are the the generation who are born in the year 1995 to uh, 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 2009. So those are they are well conscious or very conscious about the economic, social life, and also political issue. So here today, when we are talking about this, the G generation, mushkila bidam shunu, what are their problem actually? Why are they demonstrating? You can see there are so many. Let's put them in this category. ومهم كتير شديد, عدد بتاعهم كبير جدا, and I will give maybe a figure later. Okay, why are they in the street of Kenya? Why are they demonstrating? I already told you that those generation group, this generation, the GZ, those are very conscious economically, socially, and politically. Okay, and then the other thing, why are they conducting a peaceful demonstration against the administration of President Ruto? The problem is this demonstration is actually centered. I mentioned three things there. The G's generation, or the GZ generation, are so conscious about economic, social, and political issue. So they know their rights. That means they know their rights, whether it's on the social level or the political level or the economic level. That's why they went for demonstration, and their demonstration is actually centered on the issue of financial bill or the proposal budget. في proposal budget ده جاب مشكلة. Proposal budget there, my brothers and sisters, of the year 2023 to 2024. This budget, by the way, it's an atomic bomb that which brought this issue, make this generation to get very angry. Everything now is started to be taxed. You have bread, you have even the sorry, the additional اللي هو فوت الصحية بتاع النسوان اللي هو always is tax. Everything is tax. And when you hear sometime in their videos, and I was following also in TikTok, and sometimes people sending here and there, one gentleman was saying that the system or the government of President Ruto had nearly taxed everything. ما tax ساكت. Imagine حتى العيش عيش ده كنتو حاجة بتاع 16%. How can you tax عيش يا جماعة؟ وده حاجة المواطن بيحتاج له ترفع بدرجة عالية زي ده. وعلى الأقل خد حاجة زي 5 قرش حاجة كده بس. لأنه at the end of the day Kenyan ما كتار. كأنت عملت tax في عيش ده بنسبة بسيط. أنت بليمو من كم مليون ده هيغطي لك حاجة. But what they did here, they're taxing everything to the extent that hatta the content creators. And I remember there was also debate, serious debate, anger, and I remember one artist, Kenyan artist by name, I think it was Eric. That was on Facebook because I used to follow him. He actually got annoyed. He said, how could Ruto put in his mind that they now their system, that why they want to put in mind that everything has to be taxed, including the content creators. Content creators who are those content creators؟ يعني مثلا زول اللي شغال في media، yeah, content creators. في ناس اللي مثلا بيعملوا فيديوهات short videos and so forward, whether in Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or whatever. So there is a certain way if you do your content, maybe you gain money out of that. So now then the government also want to do taxing on that. So, and then this gentleman was actually talking. He was saying, first of all, the phone is mine, the internet is mine, the electricity is mine, the ideas is mine. How could I actually now pay, have to pay tax on that? So it's impossible. To the extent for واحد قال كده, that in Kenya everything is taxed except maybe to go to sleep. If you want to sleep, ya ma amalo fi tax. Yani numbers ya ma amalo fi tax. This is to tell you the level. This actually angered this GZ generation. So as I said, the demonstration, these peaceful demonstration actually centered on the issue of the financial bill or proposed budget for the financial year of 2023-2024. They are jabal kalam da kullu, because it's actually impossible. It become too much for the people. Like for instance, how can you tax people more to gain tax them in everything? It had nisba with a tax them for kullu item, for kullu product. At the end of the day, you are not changing the service or changing anything in their life. لو بيحصل تغيير معلش، لكن ده بمعنى انت بمعنى قدرت تفقر كل المواطن people to become here even poor here. So usually this financial year يا جماعة, this financial year is a yearly constitutionally, يعني كله سنويا ودستوري has to be done. It's actually like it start from July and then ends like 1st July and then ends until the 30th of the second year. يعني مثلا لحد نهاية بتاع شنو بتاع السنة، يعني بعد ذاك بيخلص. لكن بيبدأ دائما اللي هو financial year ده، اللي انه البيلز ده بيجيبوه كله في برلمان، وبعد ذاك طبعا بيكون اجازه خلاص، البرلمان اجازه وبقى كلهم اتفقوا عليه، ده هو شغل ده كده. طبعا the thing is, this will also connect you to South Sudan later. The East African community. طبعا انتوا عارفين رئيس بتاع East African community ده منو يا جماعة؟ The East African community ذاته they demand that all the members of the countries and all the members in the of the countries are to prepare and reading their budget and pass at the time. يعني the same time بيعملوا بمعنى دول تا East African community ده بمعنى في including South Sudan مفروض انه يعمل نفس الحاجة، لأنه انت لما تعمل اللي هو financial year بتاعك في برلمان بتاعك، بعد ما تخلص هناك بعد ذاك you guys will come, all of you those countries, you will also come and present it or read it in the East African Parliament as a member of what? Of this community as well. Now I'm talking, I jump out of Kenya. Now I'm talking even in East African community. Bemana, the East African community as well, they have demanded that all the members of the countries, they should also prepare their reading. Yani bemana, mufrut, even South Sudan supposed to also pass his bill, the same financial bills to Parliament bita. وده حاجة يعني أخو بتاعنا أو أبو بتاعنا كرديت ما بكون ذاته وما عملوا ذاته. So the members, so that means so all the members of the state, all the members, the East African member of the state are doing that. By the way, all of them, they are doing that except Kirs of South Sudan, except President Kir. كده كمان كلام ده هو يا رئيس بتاع East African community هو ما قاعد يعمل كلام ده. كلام أعتقد شيء والله العظيم. Which is usually طبعا this is an odd man out of region and international norms and culture. ده عادي بالنسبة لكير، ودائما برا من الأشياء، برا من حاجات regional international norm and culture و traditional حاجات ده دائما برا الشبكة. ده الكلام هنا. هنا let's go back again to Kenya. So this Kenyan bill proposed by the way, has introduced a lot of tax on every crucial item such as fuel, bread, cooking oil, diapers, motor vehicle, and then etc. يعني حاجات كتير يعني. Imagine tax ده في كل شيء, nearly everything. وده السبب اللي خلى انه اللي هو GZ generation, they have felt that this thing is really hurting them so badly with this kind of situation that they have. Everything has to be taxed. وده اهو this يعني this Kenyan financial bill ده proposal ده بقى introduce ياو حاجه اللي خلى تونينج بوم اللي خلى كينيان بقى زعلانين, شباب ديل زعلانين. tax, imagine اي ايتم اللي انت بتشوف انه مهم ضروري لك كمواطن عملوا فيه tax. انت عندك زي فيول, بنزين, انت عندك عيش, زيت اللي بركبوه اكل ذاته, cooking oil, موتو او vehicle, توك توك, whatever, اي انواع يعني انواع تا مواصلات واي حاجه قاعده تتحرك به عملوا فيه tax. واشياء اخرى انا ما بقدر نزيد, بس ده البسيط اللي انا بوريك له. فهنا ده جاب المشكله ده. so financial bill ده شكله كده يعني سبب بتاعه has increased the production and automatically will have يعني production هنا طبعا بيجي increase كان عمل يجي بمعنى ده بيرفع من ال what do you call it الحياة بتاع يعني شنو ده يعني the daily basis needs بتاعك, بمعنى هيرفع cost ده وانت بيجي حياة بيكون صعب للمواطن. so basically this financial bill is increasing costs of production. يعني production ذاته بمعنى لازم يرتفع automatically. يعني كده اي حاجه انت بتعمل لجمات كده تعمل ذاته لجمات بس او موتوكي كده يجيب حاجات غريب وسو كما ويكي تاك انت تعمل ده تجيني جيتو كان whatever, بمعنى انت لازم هنا لازم تزيد سعر بتاع حاجه دي ذاته, لانه كان تجي ركبوا بزيت زيت زيرو فوق تاكس. انت كان جي ركبوا كان زيت تاك انت جي كودو في مولا زيرو فوق تاكس. كان تجي ركبوا ببوتوجاز غاز زيرو فوق. انت كان جي ركبوا ببنزين ولا امين ب whatever ده برضو زيرو فوق تاكس. بمعنى automatic every products production ده اي حاجه تجامل تجي ركب في مطعم في شنو في اي حاجه مواصلات تركب انترنت وشنو حاجات ده كله ارتفع automatically. بمعنى حاجه ده will do a lot of حاجه ده effect when on the over the employment. الليله في employment let's take a small example. نحن ما نمشي كبير. لو انا عنده petrol station already the fuel is being increased, بمعنى هنا الهاي كوست هنا هيرتفع. الناس اللي انا قاعد اشتغل عندهم ذات ما ممكن انا will fire 2 or 3 to remain with can if I have 10 I have to fire 5 عشان انا I can't pay them all. بمعنى انا I have to pay them also a high salary لانه already everything is being taxed. ده واحد. نمرة اتنين انا if I have a restaurant and I'm selling chapati and I'm selling whatever, the gig already عمل فوقه tax. زي ده انا جيب يو جي اعمل بو chapati ده عمل فوقه tax. متى ما انا جيب اعمل فوقه كان انا قاجره I have to pay لانه كمان tax ارفعه. كهرباء انا جي شغل ده برضو نفس الحاجه. بمعنى this thing will affect the employment كله. وده او the area الجي affect منو the generation Z او generation Z. You see, the area اللي affect generation Z. ده أو خلى إنه بيجا شنو is the generation Z is contested against. هم طلعوا مظاهرات ضد الكلام ده لأنه في ناس تاني ما فاهمين وليه إيه الشباب الصغار ده هناك ده generation ده. Okay, so ده أو issue الاسم شنو ده أو كلام أنا داير أوريكم في مقدمة الكلام ده. طيب كلام ده احنا دايرين نربطه بيجا شنو في الليفل تاعنا في جنوب السودان. لأن أنا كلمت تعريف بتاع جنريشن ده هم عملوا شنو وعلاقته ذاته شنو مع مظاهرات بتاعهم ده وليه مظاهرات ده وصل لسبب شنو أنا وضحتها. وزائد إنه في ليفل تاع إيست أفريكان كوميونيتي وكونكتد يا شوية اللي جبت في ساوث السودان. تعال احنا نجي في ساوث السودان. احنا بنتعلم. What do we learn from this GZ or Generation Z? What do we learn from them? We already identify and also define them as a very conscious generation about economic, about social life, and also about political issue. So let's come to ourselves. We don't have this generation in South Sudan. Of course, we do have them. We do have them. Okay, we do have them, but are they really focused? In our case, and now we put them in. Let's talk about different category and why actually things like that are happening. Remember, my brothers and sisters. Now there is also something called Tomini, or let's say Tomini, Nairobi, whatever talks. Kenya now is facing problem. The president of Kenya is facing problem that he can't solve it, and the leaders of South Sudan are calling him to solve this problem. Their problem. Imagine, into machine inat عشان مشكلة بتاعكم يحلوه. وليدر داك ذاته عنده مشكلة هناك. He can't rescue himself. لكن قالنا let's come reflect. And I want to say, my brothers and sisters, anything, anybody in the region takes the issue of South Sudan and put himself or herself that he wants to solve the issue of South Sudan without feeling pity or solving this problem because of people of South Sudan, he doesn't want to solve this problem, or he wants to solve this problem for pitying for South Sudanese people, not for the regime, he will remain in his power. But anybody, any leader in the region or anywhere else, or any group of people, take the issue of South Sudan and put their interests first in the interest of the regime without putting the interests of the people of South Sudan, they will face the same problem. They will face the same problem because of the blood of the people of South Sudan. Let's go on. When South Sudan case started, it was first taken to Ethiopia. Let me remind you, my people, was taken to Ethiopia. During that time in Ethiopia, this issue was also Figem Kan Mashi, plus those of IGAD, some of the IGAD leaders. Figem Kan Mashi. And then what happened? The demonstration started also in Ethiopia. For some of you who don't know, the time when people were accusing, people were accusing the other prime minister. The demonstration, when demonstration started, he actually resigned. As his name is Dalasaga, or let's Mariama. But the guy, go on. Yeah, you can say it. This Mono. Aywa, Hele Mariam Disale. Thank you. Hele Mariam Disale. So that time, the guy, at least he was a humble man. He resigned, by the way. And the demonstration continued because there was also this in Ahmara, there was one leader like that was, I don't know if he was assassinated or something happened. And then this thing continued. Demonstration continued seriously, reached to the level, made this gentleman to resign. And he resigned. Abiy Ahmed continued until some of you maybe heard the demonstration was very heavy to the extent that the Tigranian were able to come and take over, the capital, Addis Ababa. They were emerging, coming, Here, Abiy Ahmed left this issue of South Sudan and then was taken to Bashir. Some pastors actually advised Bashir that he has to put the interests of South Sudan first when he's coming to discuss about the issue of South Sudan. There is a pastor, even he talked to me. He advised Bashir, he told al-Bashir that what he saw in the vision, that Bashir should look to the interests of the people of South Sudan, not to the interests, not his interests, not the interests of the government of Juba, but the interests of the people of interests of the people of South Sudan. But what happened by then? What Bashir did in 2018? Bashir came with the declaration of principle. If some of you will remember this declaration, there was 5 points. Suddenly, it become more about. Sorry, it become more about. It become more about his regime. You remember that time about oil, and then the oil area will be protected by the forces of of Sudanese. I remember even some of the Janjaweed by then, because Bashir is the one who brought them. They were taken there to go and take, to patrol the area. Remember that time. الحاجة اللي حصل يا جماعة في اللحظة داك عشان نكون واضحين. بشير خط انترست بتاع حكومة بتاع أول قبل انترست بتاع جنوبين، لأنه نسى بأنه قضية الجاب حرب في جنوب السودان ده قضية بتاع 2013 اللي أدى إلى موت أكثر من 400 ألف جنوبي، بدأ ابتداء من جوبا لحد المناطق الأخرى. 400 ألف ده ما عدد بسيط يا جماعة، ده قرابة لنص مليون جنوبي. لو أضفنا لعدد بتاع الناس اللي جاب ماتوا حسب من 2016 لحد يوم الليلة ممكن يكون فاق عدد بتاع اسم شنو ده، وصل لاسم شنو ده ل 700 جدلا، يعني وصل هسه قريب لمليون بقى، لانه زمان يتخيل ده كان نص مليون في اقل من ايام بسيطه. كويس. الحصل لما بشير خدت انترست بتاع اول وما خدت انترست بتاع الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان، شوف الحصل شنو. وينه حكومه بتاع بشير؟ بدا ديمونستريشن بدا في 2019. عمر بشير وين؟ باي باي يا حلو. ده اهو يعني يعني لما انت تاخد انترست بتاع حاجه تاني اندر نقول شنو ده اوجاع بتاع الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان and will follow and will always follow everybody in this region who takes the issue of South Sudan and they are looking more into their interests, not the interests of people of South Sudan, leave alone the government of South Sudan, what they call themselves government of South Sudan, because they are not actually elected. One. Number two, they don't care about the people. They are the one who actually created everything. They are the oppressors. But when every issue of South Sudan taken to the region, to the country here and the neighboring country to the South Sudan, they don't focus on the interests of people of South Sudan. They focus more on the interests of this regime to continue. That's why they will go one by one, even if they are not going to live in the power. They will, but their people, they will not trust them in those countries in the plus their government. So let's come here in our situation. Look at let's start. In the case of Kenya, by the way, in the case of Kenya, the civil society in Kenya stood with the Generation Z. The civil society in Kenya is stood with Generation Z. But in our case in South Sudan, no. The civil society, they are actually the mouthpiece of the regime. The real civil society that we know, normally, they are silent because they are being oppressed, they are being attacked, harassed, they just remain silent. But those that you see them talking, example, like Ismu Munuda, Edmond Yakanye, those are just the mouthpiece of the government. Why they cannot be harassed? Why they cannot be intimidated? Why they cannot be arrested? Because they are the masterpiece, and they are actually a government. They are the government agents. They are not promoting the pain of the people or anything about the people. No. And there are also some other civil society who are actually being killed. Those are actually trying to speak on behalf of the people of South Sudan. They are killed. But those who are talking, you see their mouths, they're everywhere. And the reason why they are actually talking very much, to show the international community and the region that there is a civil society. But in actual fact, they are not doing anything to us. They are just civil society agent of the government, or let's say the regime. They become puppet of the regime. They operate, they operate for the regime. Those civil society, they operate for the regime. And there is also a group of those civil society, because they are divided. The group of those civil society, some of them, they pretend to be opposition. They are not opposition. They are actually, out of those good and real civil society that I talked about, who are now silent, and if they talk, nobody listen to them. You see, some of them, they are oppressed, some of them are killed. But here, those others who are a mouthpiece of the regime, they also divided into two groups, that the one that in the regime and those who are in opposition. They call themselves the opposition. They are not opposition, by the way. They are not real civil society. What they're doing here, they are actually to come and promote the agenda of the regime within the opposition. And when there is any agreement between the regime and the opposition, you will see them defending the case of the regime. Those are those also group who are divided. In actual fact, they are not. They are not real civil society. And they will counter-insurgency or counter-insurgent civil society. They call them civil society. So they will promote now the agenda of regime. This is what we are facing. Compare them to the civil society in Kenya. You feel ashamed and you say, oh God. Civil society in Kenya stood with the demonstrated, with demonstrators, or with the GZ group who are actually demonstrating. Let's go to the face-based group. Yeah. The reason, yeah, why I'm saying this is about the civil society like that. Yeah, they are talking and they are making the exploitation here. Those are the exploitation of the regimes that the regime is breezing through them. Those civil society. Come to the faith-based group. The faith-based group, the church. You have seen so many times some pastors or some bishops are talking. Those are the few who are talking, and we know them by names. And some are actually being eliminated, killed. Example like Pastor Kwaje. Pastor Kwaje was killed during the time after the prayers. What do you call it? National prayers. Was it 2017 or 2018? Something like that. 2017, yes. National prayers, but national prayers, Pastor Kwaje was eliminated. Basically, Pastor Kwaje is one of the pastors who can talk. He's actually implementing the word of God. When God say the truth, and the truth will set you free. And he did not care if he will be killed or not. But the way they torture him, burn his body. Some of you have seen many times here. I put his photo here. I don't want to show it right now. He's been tortured. Torture, just because he said the truth. He was speaking for the people of South Sudan. He was tortured after the what so-called national prayers. There's nothing there. Nasa kajajir biselli gal national prayer. So anyways, those first group in South Sudan, those who will talk, they will always be threatened. Because the regime, especially with their national security, now they have inflated the church itself. The church itself, and I'm very surprised. The last church that we gave trust in the person of Cardinal Ameo, I was surprised by his letter when he started to say that people should not talk. Those pastors should only preach Jesus and his crucifixion, and that's it. And you forgot that Jesus, when he used to preach, he used to connect the verses of the word of God with the life of the people. That's why Zacchaeus, when Zacchaeus was looking there, and he knows himself that he was he was a tax collector, and he was corrupt. When he heard that message, he came down, and then he went and gave all the his wealth, because he knew that what he was doing. So if today the man of God who representing the church, the Catholic Church, and he's saying that you have to preach Jesus and his crucifixion and nothing else, so what the point? The people should come to the church. People should come to church because the church is teaching people the moral, and these morals are in these verses of the Bible, and you need to reflect this to them, to their life, whether political life, social life, marital life, youth life, what have you. You have to give them an example through this. Okay, you have a few individuals who are talking, like those one of the pastor that some of you have seen one time. I think he's from Rumbek. He was talking, strongly, like also Bishop Santolako, and you have also Abuna Reverend Taban from Western Barghazal. Those are people who are talking. We used to have some time also Bishop Quran Lado, and Bishop Tani Danis Ulai Nisidas Mamsat. I have them in the list. So, and then you have also some pastor, like you have Bishop Paulo. Sometimes he used to talk, but he was actually, now they have pinched him a little bit. You see, those are asurumon. Like, look what actually the church did in the Church of Kenya. Kenya. First of all, the church, what they declared, the Kenyan church, Dominic. Is it Anglican Church of Kenya, right? It's a Vinang Dominic. Yeah. So, the church here, there's all the church stood with what? With demonstrators, with GZ, Kenisa, Anglican Church, plus the Catholic Church, both of them. Massive to South Sudan. Al-Tanini Nagita Pelgo, Tanin the national security. Askeri, Abuna, or national security. Ita biligo fi murannim wala alta bait ulta security za Roman nak ta drums o security. Kenisa kullu mulahban. Lakin fi Kenya, Anglican Church, Umar Catholic Church, they all say we are standing with demonstrators. This is something that's why we need to learn this lesson. No, when it's in civil society, but in Kenya, we give my demonstrators. They do not take side with the government. لحد هنا تانين هنا في القاعدين برا هنا في Kenya. I mean في اسم شنو ده. They say they are in solidarity with demonstrators. هنا في ألمانيا هنا. And I've seen also in US تانين برضو في US. كده I've seen their on media. And then the first base here هو كنيسة كاثوليكية Anglican Church في Kenya, they stood with demonstrators to the extent the Catholic bishop, he came out directly that they will not give a political space in their podium inside the church for the politician to speak. بمعنى في منابر بتاعهم في داخل الكنيسة زي كل مرة كان زول كبير ليدر جا ونس. قال زول كبير بتاعهم كان political leader مش كان جا في الكنيسة بدو فرصة مرات بونس. هم قالوا they are not gonna do that. They will not give a platform to the politician to come and speak. لأنه they are saying even a bishop, the Catholic bishop, the guy, because those young boys, those young children talking on the street, Generation Z, Generation Z, going to the street demonstrating, message بتاعهم ده message ما message بتاعهم العيال صغار ده message بتاع ربنا. ليه هم قالوا كده? Because now they are going to make their life miserable by actually, this financial bill that been passed in the parliament. So Yaldel Mosho peacefully, they were going for demonstration peacefully, asking for their rights because they are conscious. هم عارفين حقوق بتاعهم اللي هم قاعدين يدافع عنهم. بالتالي هم قال كلام العيال اللي قاعد يتكلم ده ما كلام بتاع عيال ده بس، ده كلام ربنا ذاتي يا دير، لانه ربنا دير عداله. Because this is word of justice. You know, you say when a child is talking, it's not that child talking, it's God. لانه ليه؟ نقول دعوا الاطفال ياتونا، معلش نقدر نطلع بنات، دعوا الاطفال ياتونا الي فلا تمنعوهم فان لهؤلاء ملكوت بمثل هؤلاء ملكوت السماوات. Okay, so he was talking based on equality. لانه عيال ديل في demonstration they are demonstrating based on what they want equality. لانه ما ممكن you texting everything, every aspect of life بتاع Kenyan بقى فيه tax لدرجه انه لما واحد قال ما فاضل بس انه روتو يعمل tax كان انت ماشي تنوم تدفع tax. ده كلام ملول كلام. Now again, if we are talking about this, لما نيجي نتكلم عن face base بتاعنا بتاع اسمه شنو ده بتاع South Sudan, imagine ده حاجة تاني different. تعال احنا نيجي نتكلم about the youth. The youth معلش let me finish this one. في اللي هو face base ده، لكن تعال في الوضع بتاعنا بتاع South Sudan زي ما انا قلت لك members بتاع church بتاع South Sudan they become a security agent. They become security agent. شفت كيف؟ هم ذاته يا بقى security agent. قبل انا لما ذكرت لك قلت لك انه some members of civil society يعني اساس زي يجيبوا لك في زول واحد كل مره بيجيبوا لك زي اسمه باولين رياك ده، زول اللي ولا اسمه باولين رياك دايما بيجيبوا ده معروف، ده زول بتاع حكومه، يجي يقول لك قال ده بيمثل civil society. عشان كده انا شايفه سهروا يا في حاجات تمعيني ده. لكن let's go في اسمه شنو فيس بيس دي ناس دي يعني only بس يعني a few leaders دي اللي يبغوا نسوا هم يا بدي امل. Sometimes when the people of South Sudan are so down when they hear message of the Roko Taban, Reverend Roko Taban, they feel happy at least that there is a hope. When they hear a message of Bishop Santolako, is giving them hope because he's speaking for them, he's speaking through their pains and so on, and he's in absolute solidarity with them. This is only a few things here in South Sudan. Like in look at Kenya, the entire church, Catholic Church and Anglican Church of Kenya, they stood with those demonstrators. Today, if you find a Catholic, a Catholic priest, he is now talking. It is out of sometime you wonder. A priest في جنوب Sudan is talking. The cardinal, شوف وانا صار لو كان قاعد يتكلم هنا. معلش I'm not attacking him, but he need to understand that the people need to wake up. We need to reflect, to compare ourselves sometime. We are not comparing ourselves with America. It's just a near example next to us. مرة الفادو بيقول يا أخي let the قال خلي political the leaders, the political leaders should actually forget this phobia of election phobia. Let them put themselves together to go for election. So Cardinal doesn't know that we don't have a national army in this country. He doesn't know that we don't have a police, the national police in this country. He doesn't know there is no neutral. He doesn't know that there is no neutral body that can actually protect the votes. But now, because he's also being compromised, he's being compromised here. You can see very clearly, because the doctor Cardinal is even a mayor that we know before is not now what we know now. So the church definitely is being compromised, especially the Catholic Church. Only a few individuals who are talking. Some pastors who want to talk, they are always being looked upon as if they are bad people. No, but they are the one who is saying the truth. Let the people hate you for telling the truth, but don't let the people just love you because you're telling her wala ita yako is au kida. No, 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 no. They are my Jesus girl. Jesus girl say the truth and the truth shall set you free. Hatta kan katalogo ita damshi fi heaven. Should take it. Yeah. So basically, Jama, what the Kir is doing, and those pastors now they become pastors of flesh, bishop of flesh, cardinals of flesh. They are not they in flesh. Those are just like Pharisees. They are now promoting this what we call is the gina addition to gina do money Pharism. Mombiga yani Pharisean del. They tell of Pharisean bas. Ito naman talaga one is they are benu they are now like that. Let's go again to another group. There is a group of professions أو professional دي الدكاترة المنام نفوسهم intellectual. The intellectuals in Kenya now, they analyze the situation critically and they also write and talk. They're seeing what this bill has brought is something bad. So today when we are talking about the intellectuals in South Sudan, some intellectuals either become tribal. Every intellectual now is cornering or making a corner with his leader. Dem in Gabila intellectual من قبيلة ده بقعد مع leader بتاعهم الورا هناك. عشان كده تلقى جماعة تانيين ناس think tank ناس منو think tanks تانيين دل كلهم تبع قبيلة فلان فلان قاعد بورا leader بتاعه. نفس حاجة اللي هم نذكر ده. ما ده مجموعة زي الجي سي اي دل. ما جي سي ده أغلبية بتاعهم ما هم كان سياسيين هم ناس متعلمين لكن في جي سي اللي هو يانج منهم هم برضه شغالين قاعدين يتكلم شوف لك والله في حاجة اسمه think tank كده they are what they are doing with the other rest of the professionals تانيين ديل they are making themselves they staying neutral قال عشان ما دايرين ندخل I don't want to be this I don't want to be this I don't want to do this but if you ask them it too as an intellectual it too عملتوا لشنو لجنوب السودان without being connected to one leader or there it too عملتوا شنو what did you propose ما بعد كده in Kenya they're doing something so therefore يعني what are their role كأننا سألنا role بتاعكم شنو that like or you are just comfortable with what South Sudan is going through ده سؤال احنا نسأل intellectual ده برضو احنا نسأل ما ممكن نتكلم عن فيس بيس civil society leaders ديل نتكلم مع ناس منو ديل what are you doing professions ديل انتوا ناس professional ناس منو دكاترة مهندسين شنو ناس PhD ناس منو انتوا عملتوا شنو قاعدين تقدم شنو your suggestion what is your suggestion ولا انت قاعد انت مشغول في comfort zone بتاعك ده انت you don't care education with education you have it become useless when you are not helping in anything you become useless and also liability because you are not doing anything with it you only doing to yourself but what is actually your contribution towards the country mama bas we have to talk about politician this and this but what is your role إذا تعمل زي ده لأنه معروف إنه professions then although you are not in any political group some of you a profession دل هم يبنوا بلد هم يقدموا لأنه في نهاية المطاف حاجات الغنية يعملوا كله ميزانيات استراتيجية بتاع حاجات ده بيكتبوا ناس شنو البروفيشن المتعلمين دل المثقفين دل انتوا بتكتبوا الحاجات ده لكن انتوا قاعدين تقدموا شنو حتى على مستوى بتاع ريجن او لمستوى بتاع اسمه شنو ده international what are you doing you're just quiet you're not providing anything so basically you become liability and also your education become useless to the people of South Sudan who are actually looking to you that you will do something شوف الاتحاد المهنيين اللي عملوا في السودان ديل كانوا بروفيشن ما سياسيين، جزء الكثير منهم ما كان سياسيين، ديل الدكاتره المهندسين القانونيين كلهم مع بعض يكونوا حاجه. سو انت الموقف بتاعك وين انت كشنو كبروفيشن ده في جنوب السودان. yeah. قبل انا ذكرت كلام، نرجع في النقطه بتاع سيفل سوسايتي ده. في زول عمل نفسه بتاع سيفل سوسايتي هو تابع بي سي سي اي ولا بيسموه شنو ده. الزول ده قالوا معارض لكير. انا عشان كده قاعد استغرب مرات الزول اللي بيمشي لحد في هناك في اتجاهات هناك تواراب هناك بحر غزال بيعمل اي حاجه له دايره. ها ده قالوا زول سيفل سوسايتي. الزول ده انا مره طبعا في كلام هو قاعد يتكلم فيه، انا ما ضحكت انا قلت هذا سيفل سوسايتي قالوا معارض لكيرو بي سي سي اي هو سكرتير بتاع شنو هناك، كلام اللي قاعد يقولوا ذاته unbelievable. انا قاعد اقول يا جماعه شغل تا سيفل سوسايتي ده غيروه ولا كيف؟ غيروه ولا كيف؟ برا من كده باي ذا واي في جروب بتاع سيفل سوسايتي انتوا كان قاعدين تسمعوا كو داري يقوم في جروب بتاع سيفل سوسايتي الديل الملونين ديل اللي ما بعرفهم وانا اخضر وانا اصفر they were working together with some general they want to coup انتوا قاعدين تسمعوا كو ده سيبوا كو تا كول كور ده برا حاجات الجون است كول كور ده برا ده كو ده قال دارين يقوم ما جنرال تانيين ده او جماعه ديل ذاته ديل يلا هنا they will come and act as if they are angels. هم قاعدين يقوموا دارين يقوموا بانقلاب. الزول اللي قاعد يخرب لهم انقلاب ده كولكور. The guy who is actually destroying their coup is a كولكور. طبعا كولكور يكون مبسوط كان سمع كلام ده. no ما تجيني مبسوط. هم بيعملوا حاجات ده لانه هم ذاته هم بيمثلوا بانهم civil society. They are not civil society. That's why انا قاعد اقول لك انه they will come in a lamb قماشة lamb لكن هم wolves من جوا. الزول قاعد يفشل لهم المشروع ده كولكور. زي اسي فورستن بيتر بيار كان فتره من فترات هو بيعمل نفسه بانه زول ده شنو هو سيفل زول سيفل وما دار مشاكل ونما اديت ناس اللي كان قاعدين عندهم ميليتري وينج زينا كده ناس ديل وكان دي توماس ليب توماس should abandon this وشنو ما ادراك ده. so مرة من مرات هو ذاته when he met with he met with this, let me just go quickly in this, met with American there. He met with those American, they say the Committee of Foreign Relation in US Congress. So he was asked, Asma Kalamde, he was asked about this. Gal, what do you see the solution for South Sudan? Gal, the solution is election. They can't kalam bito. Gal, nothing. I think violence is not very important, but the solution is what we're calling the solution. Gal, election. Gal in front of this committee of foreign relation in Congress. You know, he was asked for this. Lakin when you look, the same guy who went there talking about solution is for South Sudan to make election. Now underground, his solution become transporting weapon. Sila ده نفس الزول ده تناقضات غريبة. ده جنوب السودان في زول واحد بيلعب بينه وسيفل سوسايتي واكتيفيست وليدر الى اخره. في نهايه المطاف تلقاه كشكول مليانه وصفر كبير كده بجنبه. ده هو حاله بتاعنا. يلا so كلامنا كله if you look into that, I'm just giving you an example. There's some of the intellectuals of South Sudan playing a double deal. So what happened? At the same time, the guy was talking that the solution is election, but but he has a criminal mind. There was gadilim gurush kanta salta lela, ask him ولقى قروش ده وين. And by the way ده نفسه هو ده ذاته يا in support of those يا تقانو كان ناس تبقر ده المسلحين تبقر ده ويندو علاقة مع جماعة ده. لكن تعال اسأل في كلام رفضه هو قالوا ده solution ده يكون election في the same time he has this criminal mind. Now he actually put himself into this deep wrong planning of shipping things. So حاجة under negotiation. People of South Sudan, if they cannot come really to focus on the root causes of the problem and how to solve the problem completely, this thing will not go anywhere. Let's go to the use of South Sudan. The use of South Sudan, our Shabab beta Junub Sudan, they have no vision. Not all of them, I'm not saying all of them, but majority are like that now. They have no vision, and some of them, they don't have motive. Others, they become followers of those leaders. They only want to, they don't know their rights in this case. I'm not talking about all of it. If I say ممكن انا اقول حاجه بتاع 50% وانا بقول 50% ده لسه عندهم they know their rights and they also انا طبعا ما عملت عمليه حسابيه بس عملت تقدير في 50% ديل اصلا نسوا حاجه اسمه حقوق بتاعهم وكلام الفاضي ده. Those are focused with what? Those are focused more with their leaders بتاعهم هناك الترايبال leaders اللي هناك المهم بيجوا كواكب ببيلات عربية بودلت ينقر قروش تم تشوف بيت الناس يشتري له 2-3 تليفون ايفون ولا واي كده وخلاص عملوا إيري سري هو شايف ده حياة ده هنا انتهى. في تانين ده يمشي يشتري له عربية تاني ده يرسلوه في دبي يمشي ليف كده ويفتكر ده حياة. Those youths هم بيجا زي ده they are majority بتاعهم بيجا they are cling to those leaders. They are just there for money to buy properties وعمل شنو تانين بيجا جو شنو تانين طلعوا بيجا معرسين. Some of them they are now used within their communities. They are used into their community. As an example زي في حاجة أنا شفتها إنه في شغل كده ماشي شغل وسخان جدا. أنا ومسج ده نقدر نرسل لجنرال جدالة لحاكم وده مشكلة. ده موضوع بتاع الشباب دل تانين دل بيجا كوراب طبعا تانين شغالين تجارة بتاع إنه بيرسلوهم يمشي يشتري اوبوزيشن ودهم قروشهم شغالين يعني بيجا معرسين شغالين كده. تانين بيرسلوهم يمشي بيو يعني to deal with their own brothers تانين اللي هم دايرين تانين بيبيو اخوهم برا عشان يلقى قروش يعني شغال مع ناشونال سيكوريتي وصل درجة وسخان جدا. انت كان فتاة خشمك تاني بيمشي يشتكيك تاني شغال بس معرس بيبي زول شاء كان يتهم ده بانيوتا اوبوزيشن او يتهم ده بحاجة اي حاجة كيف عشان هو يلقى قروش. تانين جندهم عشان يبيو بنات تانين جندهم برضو بنات جندهم تانين في كنايس وانتو خلوا بالكم يا شباب في تانين في كنايس تانين برضو بيجيك through social media they will write to you in your messenger or your WhatsApp ده you have to know ده كمان ده او جروب تاني كمان تانين دل بوديلو من قروش the trouble everywhere وشنو دل بنات برضو في جروب زي ده. الأولاد التانيين ده نفس كذلك they are all doing this kind of business. So that's why you see this generation they are not like this generation the GZ in Kenya. Only 50% from this generation they can do something but the problem some of them they need something to push them. So there is no way في situation بتاعنا لازم تلقى انه الشباب ده ممكن يعمل حاجه. عشان كده في تانيين حاولوا انه اللي يعملوا تشوف زول زي اسمه شنو ده أمو فيليب بارتولوميو اللي هو فيل فري. عشان كده انت شفت ولد زي أمو ده هو برضه ممكن انا ما اعرف كانوا من جيل ده كانوا من جيل ده لكن هو بيكون قريب في جيل ده وممكن يكون في نهايات الثمانينات وبدايتها ايش شنو ده، في الثمانينات ونهايه الثمانينات التسعينات هو كده. لكن انت بتشوف انه he has a vision، لكن هو ما قادر، هو شايف انه ما بقدر يعمل حاجه ده through demonstration، لانه هم جربوا قبل كده، هم طلب demonstration في جوبا هناك، هم طلب demonstration في جوبا هناك. تاني ده عنده motivation بشكل عجيب كده، لانه let's give a real حاجه ده example. زي حقه ده هو يختار انه شنو يطلع بطريق بتاع شنو اللي هو حريه عن طريق السلاح. يا زي ناس مايكل واني ديل كانوا معاهم في demonstration، لكن ناس مايكل واني هسه داير يمشي جوهم وناس بي سي سي طبعا عنده هيلم، مايكل واني عنده هيلم ده وداير يطلع جفنر بتاع سنترال ايكواتوريا. اي زول ده يكون بني يا بابا. ها يلا المعرسين الكثير كثيرين طبعا you will always be present something، يعني in return في حاجه انت لازم تعمله in order for them to do it for you. يقول لك امشي اعمل زي بتاع ولد اسمه النارجي ده. النارجي ده طبعا معروف، احنا عارفين انه زول controversial، زول فاسد جدا. هسه في معلومه قاعد يطلع بانه في دواء في معلومه، وده معلومه مؤكده. ده انا داير اوريك عشان اجيال اللي قاعدين يشتغلوا كيف. عشان كده تغيير عشان يجي بشكل نظيف ويطلع قيادات نظيفه فوق بيحتاج لتغيير حقيقي، ما تغيير بتاع اللعبه عشان يجيب ناس فاسدين زي ناس نارجي او ناس اصلا ما عندهم مبادئ في السياسه، ما عندهم مبادئ هسه في التغيير. هسه نارجي عشان المره اللي فات انتوا زي ما شفتوا المره اللي فات مع ناس اكول كور، مع ناس ايمانويل ادل، ناس مارتن ايليا، مع ديفيد اسم شنو كوماري ده بتاع ناشونال سكيورتي، الناطق باسم مجرم بتاع ناشونال سكيورتي ده، المره اللي فات قاعد يحدد في ديفيد لوكوسانج ده قال ده عمل شنو اللي هو ده اسمه منو ده بني ادم منو ده ديفيد اسمه شنو ده ديفيد كوماري ده. هم يا ناس طبعا نارجي عشان مثلا ابوه من يانغورا، طبعا هم تو دينكا سوري، يلا ابوه من يانغورا، هو لازم يمشي يتكلم مع زول في ناشونال سلفيشن فرونت من عساكر ناشونال سلفيشن فرونت عشان يجي من الناس اللي فصلناهم. كان 3 اللي فصلناهم، اول ده ستيفن لوكوجا ومعه اجل لاكولا لاجا اللي اسمه ماريا لاكولا لاجا اللي هسي عمل نفسه قال ناس شنو كانسل داك ده، ومعه في واحد اسمه ومعه روبرت داك المشي ده هو ده اللي كان في كوميونيكيشن بينه مع ناس اسمه شنو ده مع جماعه ناشونال سكيورتي، ويستخدموا نارجي ده. سبب نارجي لازم يعمل مهمه عشان بعدين يجدوه في مقابل. هسه حاجه الماشي ناس جهاز، وانا دار نوري كلام ده الناس تاكل كوره عشان دار اوري انه شباب دل شباب جنوب السودان ده عشان كان المفروض يتعلم من تجربه كينيا to learn from this what is happening with this GZ generation in Kenya who are really demonstrating here, who are conscious politically and socially and economically. لكن look our youth قاعدين يعملوا شنو؟ youth بتاعنا بيعملوا شنو؟ شغل بس حاجات بيعملوا التربيزه، ما في حاجه دغري كده. هسه now the national security they want to force Jadala, the governor Jadala, to bring Narji Germali Romano to come and to be the mayor of Juba. Kan Narji deja mayor ta Juba خلاص حقتكم انتهى. فساد لانه انسان فاسد، وخليه يسمع كلامي انا قاعد اقول الحقيقه. He's a very corrupt person. ما بينفع المحل ده. لانه now they want to bring this، وما بس كده ده ايان ديت. طبعا انا ذاته ما اعرف انت مره سيلفا كير شنو دخلك في كلام ده؟ انت ما عندك علاقه بالشغل ده. Being a wife of a president doesn't make you automatically يعني sexually كده قالت you become president as well. Sorry to say this, we have to be frank يا جماعه. A wife of president is not a president. It's got nothing to do with the business of the country. Your wife there, your first lady, yes, you can do some other thing, but you cannot put your nose into the business of the country. في حاجات انت بتعمل حاجات activities هناك اللي هو نشاطات شنو تساعد هناك charity تعمل بعيد هناك. ما عنده علاقة to engage yourself في business بتاع رئيس، لأنه رئيس ده هو رئيس هناك بما إنه أصلا he's not been elected. لكن شغل ده ما عنده business بعلاقة بتاعك عشان ده إنت راجل، ده راجل بتاعك إنت بإنه إنت كمان you can do thing. تتعينات أسا هنا أيان دي قال أيان مرة سيلفا كير دخل في الموضوع ده. now they are forcing جدل. أنا طبعا بصراحة أنا ما قاعد أتكلم مع جدل، ما عندي نمرة بتاع جدل ذاته، لكن عندنا الناس اللي بيجيب معلومات من هناك فريش كويس. هسه بقى في لجنة سرية لجنة سرية في جهاز بقيادة بتاع أغوستينو كلاوديو. انتو كان بذكر اسم مالانا، كان أقرأ في ريبورت بتاع أمو فيليب بروموتالي ده أو بارتوميو اللي هو فيل فري، اسم بتاع زول اللي بتلقاه هنا اللي هو أغوستينو كلاوديو ده. هو يا شغال وماسك في الملف ده، لازم يجيبوه. قال يلا وفي زول اللي اسمه منو جنرال أبود بتاع الأمن السياسي، وقابل الوالي وبقى شغال ضغط. جدال انت ما تقبل زول ده. شغل الباموت التربيزه بقى فيه ناس جنرال ابود، بقى فيه ياهو اغوستينو كلاوديو ده، بقى فيه ناس ايانديد عشان كده بس يجيبوه. نرجس ما زول فاسد. في كم شباب في سنترال ايكوتوريا ده، في كم شباب في سنترال ايكوتوريا، في 11 ولا 12 قبائل في سنترال ايكوتوريا ممكن يجيبوهم. لكن نارجي he's a very corrupt. ده سبب انا قاعد اقول لك انه شباب بتاع جنوب السودان ما قاعدين يساعدوا في عمليه، عشان كده تتعلم من تجربه زي بتاع كينيا ده او تجارب كثيره في المنطقه، يا او كان في مصر حتى في السودان. شفت كيف؟ ده الوضع. شوف تخيل هسه شغالين عمليه بتاع شنو عشان كيف بس انه يجيبوا زول اسمه نارجي. قالوا ده زول فاسد جدا. ده واحد. ده انا داير اوريكم انه ده شباب بتاع جنوب السودان. يعني you have to link yourself وحاجه انت تعمل زي ده. شغل بتاع corruption become rooted in them as well through living or making things with those شنو ده with those leaders. So how can change come? change هيجي يطلع كيف؟ هيطلع كيف من اسم شنو بتاع جنوب السودان. so ده حاجه انا داير نقول لكم اخواني واخواتي. في نهاية المطاف، عشان أنا بعد كانت اتكلمت بقى ساعة و22 دقيقة. حاجة اللي نقدر نتكلم فيه في نهاية المطاف in conclusion في الكلام اللي احنا اتكلمنا عن what is the generation أو GZ ده. أنا عرفنا generation. what is the generation? the generation builders زي ما احنا قلنا builders born. It's actually the 1946 46 generation. This generation that they are generation العمل they nearly build everything اللي احنا شفناه. انت كان مشيت لما تقرا 47 46 انت بتلقاه زي ده. سواء كان في الدول ده كله بتلقى they are ناس they are generation هم they build almost what we are enjoying today. كويس. the one generation that a baby bombers born. Those are the generation من 1946 to 1964. Those generation produce a lot of babies because of the high fertility rates في زمن بتاعه. حاجة بتاع 3.5 أغلبية بتاعهم نسوان في زمن ده كمان. إيال كتار يعني. كويس. بعد ذاك في جنريشن تاني اللي هو جنريشن اللي بيسموه جنريشن اكس. جنريشن اكس ده جنريشن اكس ده جنريشن في اعمار ما بين 1965 ل 1979. those generation ده شغل بتاعهم شنو؟ generation ده they are an anti-establishment of generation. they are having mind set up mind بتاعهم. mind بتاع generation ده على فكرة generation they are generational شنو they resist all the authorities السلطات. هم بيرفضوا دائما الحاجات الناس اللي بيعملوا الجنريشن ده. بعد ذاك واحنا ماشيين في جنريشن اللي احنا بنسميه جنريشن واي او ابسلون. جنريشن ده جنريشن بتاع 1980 ل 1994. جنريشن ده شغل بتاعهم شنو؟ this generation هي طبعا زي ما انا قلت قبل ده جنريشن تلاف بيحب ده ناس الحب رومانسيات، ده جنريشن بتاع حياه، ده جنريشن بتاع مغامره او ادفنشر. ده الجنريشن ده جنريشن بتاع الزد ده الحس في كينيا ده جنريشن بتاع ولدو ما بين year 1995 to 2009. ده جنريشن الحسرة موجود. جنريشن ده من أقوى وجنريشن واعي جدا، عندهم وعي سياسي وعندهم الوعي الاقتصادي والوعي الاجتماعي، واعيين جدا. عشان كده بتشوفوا طريقة التعامل بتاعهم. عشان كده لما طلع الموضوع بتاع بيلز هم نظروا له باتجاهات مختلفة اقتصاديا وسياسيا واجتماعيا. تأثيرات بتاع البيلز اللي هو بيتكلم عن taxing everything، حاجات كله يعني كله أي حاجة اللي بتعلق بحياة بتاع المواطن is being taxed. كويس. so ده لما نيجي نتكلم في موضوع بتاع جنريشن ده. so احنا لما نيجي ناخد كلام ده في واقع بتاعنا احنا في جنوب السودان. Let's come to our situation in Republic of South Sudan. We forgot to talk about the leaders. وانا داير نعمل conclusion بكلام. Leaders بتاعنا some of them are problem. هم المشكلة، لأنه هم أصلا بالذات ديل اللي بيسموا نفسهم قالوا أنا ويا ليبريترز أنا عملنا وإلى آخره. هم ذاته هم الأزمة، لأنه هم بينظر لمصالحهم، ما بينظر لمصلح بتاع شنو بتاع الدولة ومصلح القادم، هم بينظر لمصلح بتاعهم الخاص. عشان كده now they abandon this issue of solving the problem from the roots, and they like to play with words. زي هسه احنا شايفينه في التمايني ده. طيب انت كان جاي تسأل if today Kenya as a country with their leader president William Ruto, you are going to them asking them to rescue your situation. Now he has a problem. Fire, and I will put those photos, videos here. Fire في بلد بتاعه. So what are you doing? What are you still doing there? انت القاعد هنا في تمايني دي قال احنا we are rescue. Zol mark the rescue situation too. They gija rescue. And those leaders who are actually want to give a new life to Kir again to remain in power. Yeah, those are the same leaders who rejected this agreement, and now they are saying that they were giving Kir to rescue. You're rescuing what? Are you rescuing? Especially the Kalamaluga the Pagana mom. They want to rescue the country. You want to rescue this country from who? Rescuing from what? This is احنا نسأل نفوسنا. Because if you're saying that you're there actually to rescue the country from the same person, ده كلام الكير الباغان قالوا بنفسه. الكير قال لهم اسمعوا كلام ده كويس. The time when Kir actually Pagana mom confronted Kir, they were talking about because that time Kir, when this issue started, you remember Kir actually dismissed the government. The entire government was dismissed, and some of the element was actually removed from the power. And then they have this crisis. Pagan talked particularly regarding two people, Kostima Nyibe and Dengalor. كان في زول سمع بانه يوم من ايام Pagan دخل لكير في مكتب ونس، لما طلع قفل باب بوم بورا كير. انا بزر نقول كلام ده، كان في زول سمع كلام ده وقفل باب بغضب. When he confronted Kir, he said, why did you dismiss those people? Now they will see that كأنه في fire في داخل أجد في مشكلة في أجد جماعة حركة شعبية. Why can't we just go and solve this problem? Why dismissing those two? We solve this problem within the political political leader corridors هناك حاجات طبعا حركة شعبية. رد بتاع كير كان شنو؟ So Kir actually responded because Pagan was talking بانه هم المفروض كان ما يعمل dismiss ده زي ده. المفروض كلام ده يتم مناقشه بتاعه. He called them so they will meet and then talk this into في حاجات بتاعهم بتاع SPLM. Kir طوالي زعلان. Kir, so he responded to Pagan that you are even part of this because I know you guys are working against me because you are the people who think that you are better, you think better into your bar for haja. Then Galana Zato, when I'm finished with that, I'm coming to you. So it went gulu ben it you have better of it. You guys are the one who know how to keep this country. You see? Ugal, but trust me, this South Sudan Gala will destroy it. Ana bidammiru lekum ubarmiu fi bakhana. Fi bakhana, fi toilets. Galu bijada fi bakhana ukhalli tu yada jatalom hinak. So the question is so Pagan now he's saying that he want to rescue the country. From who? And with who? With Kir? The same guy who said that I will destroy this country and I will throw it to the toilet? ما ده سؤال احنا نسأل نفوسنا. ولا كلام ده انتهى. We shouldn't play with the rights, our rights as a people and the future generation. Kir cannot be somebody that you will rescue the country together with. He already determined and he told this to you. وقال لك عديل كده بأنه بلد ده أنا بدمر لكم وبرميه في بخانة وانتوا بعدك تشيلوا بخانة بتاعكم. So Zol already قال لك أنا بدمر البلد ده لما لدرجة إنه أنتوا ما بتقدروا تلموا تاني بجداوا لكم في بخانة. كير دمر بلد جداوا في بخانة. تفتكر أنت هتيجي مع كير تفتكر إنه كير ده جاهز ذهنيا إنه عشان يجي يشتغل معاك عشان هو يطلع بلد ده من جوا تطلعه من جوا بخانة ده؟ رياض ده ما قاعد جوا هناك. رياض ده عنده كل كروت بتاع الضغط، عنده جيش، عنده أي حاجة. ليه ما قدر يعمل الكلام ده؟ أنت حدم تعمل الكلام ده كيف؟ بيعطوا آليات بتاع الضغط. المجتمع الدولي رافض حته بتاع انه مساعدات ده. احنا ما نقدر لنفوسنا. ما احنا شو الكلام اللي قالوه في اللونشنج ده. المجتمع الدولي ما جاهز يساعد لانه المجتمع الدولي خط الرهن بتاع اي حاجه مع تغير ديمقراطي حقيقي في جنوب السودان. واحد. نمرة 2 مساعدات بتاعهم هم قالوا حتى ترويكا وامريكا مساعده بتاعهم قال will go through people of South Sudan بمعنى بطريق بتاع غاسه. So the person who once told you that he will destroy this country and throw it to the toilet. So do you think this person is ready to save this country? ده رسالة بتاعي ما بس للناس ده اللي قاعدين لكل جنوبي. انتوا شايفين هسه اللي قاعد يحصل في كينيا ده. The people of Kenya stood. So here if you look at to yourself as a first base, the first base in Kenya stood with this demonstration. The two churches, the Anglican and the Catholic. Okay? The civil society, they stood. The professional, they stood their ground. Leaders also took side with the people because this bill actually is dangerous. Then look at our situation. I want to tell you, people of South Sudan, every country leader that took the case of South Sudan and you want to discuss the case of South Sudan without looking to the root causes of the problem, focusing more to the interests of people of South Sudan, will always face demonstration. It happened in Ethiopia, it happened in Sudan, and now it's in Kenya. And if this goes to any country, it will happen. Why this thing did not happen in Rome? You know why? Because the Rome or Santi Gideon was there for the interest of the people of South Sudan. I want to tell you, the prayers of the people of South Sudan, the bloodshed of the people of South Sudan, the worries and cries of the mothers of South Sudan, the children of South Sudan, the soldiers of South Sudan who are not being paid, the real police that are working want to change the situation, the real security, not this tribal security that I call, the real sons and daughters of South Sudan who really want to make change in this country, their cry has reached God. And every leader in this region want to take the case of South Sudan and want to play with it, to look into their interests, in the interests of the Juba regime first, they will always face this kind of crisis in their countries. This is something that we want to put across. It happened in Ethiopia and also in Sudan and now in Kenya, and it will continue. So therefore, the people of South Sudan, those leaders who put themselves that they want to solve the problem of South Sudan, they should look first to the root causes of the problem. Nothing else. The roots of the problem that actually brought this country to this level. You have to look at this. Because we have thousands of people. More than 500,000 people died. The 400s of 2013, and the rest now, on top of that, up to now, people are killed left and right. Now we can see the Nuer and the gang of Ruang are fighting themselves. Those blood are crying. The blood in South Sudan, in Upper Nile, in Barghazal, in Equatoria, are hunting everybody, and everybody in this region, every leader in this region. If they don't look into the root causes of the problem of South Sudan, to the interests of people of South Sudan, they will face the same demonstration. Henceforth. So I will stop here. I just want to play some of the videos, and then I will now conclude here in my presentation. Just I want to hear those with me in YouTube. I'm just showing some photos, videos. Sorry. You see, this is the demonstration. And it will reach to different level. In South Sudan, some of you are seeing El Mafi, and I would the 50% that .com da. Those are the people later will come. Those are the people later will come to rescue this country. And the same change will happen in South Sudan one day. That 50% who are there, they will stand and they will make change. Another video.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm here to address you. You must go. Ruto must go. Kwapa na hatuendi. Kwapa tunalala huku na hatuendi. We don't fear you guys. You hypocrites. We don't fear you. Mr. Speaker, we don't fear you. Tuko ndani. We stomped inside. Sisi ni nani?
So this is the GZ. They are speaking inside the parliament. They entered the parliament. Those are the demonstrators. Let's go to this one. So they post au bana ta ism shino ta speaker ta parliament da za ta ya shalo bara. The good thing mon magarin kasur. هسا روتو اتخيل انه روتو لما طلب جيش عشان يواجه الشباب ده بانه قال لا الجيش ما واجه الشباب ده بقوه بس بتردون بالراحه بالراحه يا قوم بلا شرطه فيه يا بالراحه بالراحه ده بوريك انه عشان كينيا عنده national army. So when we are talking about having the importance of having national army is what is in this case. لانه لما في حاله زي ده الجيش القومي يبقى جيف ما جيش قبلي بتاع ده جيش ده emerging of tribal militias قال ده ابقى national army. ده بيكون national army كيف؟ انت بتلقى في زول عسكري هنا لما نشوف قائد داك ما قائد بتاعه وما بدق له تحيه. ده بوريك انه we don't have a national army. They are fighting without having a national army in the country. The national army will always intervene in this kind of situation to rescue the situation, to put an order. لأنه بوليس زمان ده بكون تعبان زي أنت شايف one of the video there is already بوليس واحد هناك وقع تاني أنا ما أعرف شنو مضروب في أجل وقع في كوب في شارع في في شارع في طرف شارع كده أنت بتشوف وقع وخلاص راقد هناك دم قاعد ينزل من راسه. So in this kind of situation بوليس ما بقدر في حالة ده أنت بتجيب جيش just to put an order ما جيش عشان يجي يقتل كمان to put an order. لكن يا بتاع ناس مايكل ماكويل بيقول قال يا أخي we don't have اسمه شنو ما عندنا أجل ده ما عندنا قنبلة شط عندنا بولد وكراسة ماكويل ده زمان كان بيضرب طلقة ده جبان ساكت بيعرف بشكل وين إنما ده نحكي قصص بتاعه هسه. So listen to this one.
Do you know what happens when people are fed up? Truly fed up. They rise up and soar like eagles. They become unstoppable. They say, Tosha, enough is enough. At that point, they have enough energy to run the marathon of change, transformation. This is happening in Kenya. People are fed up. They are fed up of presidential wastage. They are fed up of bogus presidential budgets. They are fed up of more taxes and less services, less development. They are fed up with members of parliament who have become an extension of the executive instead of holding that executive accountable. They are fed up with the IMF and World Bank for their continued role in dictating African economies. That's why Kenya is on fire. Not with flames, but with the fury of its people. That's why people have rejected the Finance Bill 2024, a slap in the face of every hardworking Kenyan. This isn't just about Kenya, though. It's about all of us in Africa. Our leaders think they can fatten their bellies as they empty ours. Not anymore. IMF and World Bank think they can turn our countries into experimental guinea pigs. Not anymore. We, the people, are watching and taking action.
Commentator. It's true. كلام بتاعه مظبوط في محله. Yeah. Let me play it again quickly. This one video, but I actually forgot they're supposed to put it on the desktop.
Do you know what happens when people are fed up? Truly fed up. They rise up and soar like eagles. They become unstoppable. They say, Tosha, enough is enough. At that point, they have enough energy to run the marathon of change, transformation. This is happening in Kenya. People are fed up. They are fed up of presidential wastage. They are fed up of bogus presidential budgets. They are fed up of more taxes and less services, less development. They are fed up with members of parliament who have become an extension of the executive instead of holding that executive accountable. They are fed up with the IMF and World Bank for their continued role in dictating African economies. That's why Kenya is on fire. Not with flames, but with the fury of its people. That's why people have rejected the Finance Bill 2024, a slap in the face of every hardworking Kenyan. This isn't just about Kenya, though. It's about all of us in Africa. Our leaders think they can fatten their bellies as they empty ours. Not anymore. IMF and World Bank think they can turn our countries into experimental guinea pigs. Not anymore. We, the people, are watching and taking action.
Taxing people more, everything, like completely everything about every item that is crucial to the people: fuel, bread, cooking oil, diapers, whatever, is actually cooking. I mean, it's been taxed. حاجات كتير. وده نفس الحاجة أنا قاعد أقول لكم. One day the people of South Sudan, when they reach to that level, they will not care مع تهديد بتاع ناس مايكل ماكوي ولا منو ديل هيطلعوا في الشوارع. مش كمان أوريك ده بكون أخطر من كينيا ده. This is what I'm telling you guys. الكلام ده تغيير ده, people should sit down and discuss this situation before ألتهم قايم في كينيا في نيروبي ولا في كينيا هنا كله قايم ده before it comes to us. Kenya is not far away, and this is actually going to affect Hanakish al-Gaidin. Hanakish al-Gaidin في كينيا ديل نساوين تا جنرالات ده مع ناس تحكم القاعدين في كينيا ده. أسي بعدين كان كينيا ده قلب يا شفنا السودان تجي شيلتوا إيالكم شوية كده خرب تم بدي في يوغندا, بعد شوية تاني برحل في يوغندا, بعد كده أنا بعدين تم كله بريجا أسيدا ده بيجسوا في South Sudan هنا. So people should be careful. It's time has come, change has to. منو كان بيصدق بأنه demonstration ده بوصل للدرجة ده, إنه الشباب ده اللي قدروا يوصلوا لهذه جوا برلمان زي ما أنا وريته هنا. You know, so it's very important and essential. وانا قلت 50% جنوب السودان ديل يا بعدين هيعمل تغيير. وده يا جنريشن تا .com ده, جنريشن .com ده جنريشن تا من تا الفا من 2010 ل 2024 ده هيعمل تغيير. انتوا هتشوفوه بعدين في جنوب ده هيحصل. كان ما حصل اي تغيير. كير ده ما عرف يقعد تحت يتعلم كويس بينه enough is enough. ناس اللي ما قاعدين يدفعوا لهم مهية تانين مهية بيجي يدفعوا بشكل قبلي بنادي ناس يبيد ودية قروش, وناس تانين بدي لهم allowance تانين ما قوة دي. اوكي تاني بيعمل شنو؟ انت كان قلت يا اخي انا ايانا ما بقدر اجي شغل, بيفصلوك او يقول لك خلاص انت ما تجي تاني. انت كان ما در كده طوالي ده او شغل بتاعهم. ناس ديل بعدين بركان ده كان يطلع الناس المساكين كان تشوف كان تحدد فيهم انا سكول كورد والله بعدين ولا كافو شفت البلو هاوس بتاعكم ده بعدين بيكسروا لكم كده. انتوا هتشوفوا بس اصبروا. ما اي حاجه عنده ليميت. كينيين ديل كده شوف شباب ديل ما فاضين ماشيين بدوس فاضي ذات لدرجه انه ما خايفين and they are determined. لما كينيا رئيس بتاع كينيا كان نادام قال they want to meet this boy, هم قالوا شنو؟ قال they are not going to meet you. Girl, go and meet your financial bill. Go and meet your budget. Don't meet us. ده حقيقة. Yeah, so كان ده نفسه زول لك وكان قال حاجة عن South Sudan قبل كده كان نسمع عنه زول بعد ده كان ننهي.
You need to know one of the biggest challenges in South Sudan. Since 2018, South Sudanese authorities have embezzled $73 million from national coffers. Even South Sudan's President Salva Kiir agrees that his country wallows deep in the corruption quicksand. Way back in 2012, he conceded that South Sudan's ruling elites had stolen an estimated $4 billion of public money. Yet at that time, South Sudan, which is roughly the size of France, had only 300 kilometers of paved roads. That's beyond sick. This was 11 years ago. Think of how much more this amazing African country has lost since then. Should we really be surprised that South Sudan is now facing the world's most severe food insecurity crisis? No, we shouldn't. We, the African people, call upon South Sudan President Salva Kiir, Vice President Riek Machar, and hundreds of other Sudanese ruling elites to take a long, hard look in the mirror and yank out the sheer corruption that has consigned nearly 2/3 of South Sudanese people into starvation or near starvation mode.
Yeah, thank you. With that being said, my brothers and sisters, I will stop here. is completely 1 hour and 50 minutes. I will not go beyond. Bulldozer, if you have something to say regarding the topic, or compatriot Dominic, you want to say something regarding the topic, and then from there I will end the YouTube. I'll stop here.
اوكي شكرا بلدوزر. انت لو قدرت تمشي برضه ما في مشكله، انا بخلي لك فرصه depending on the situation there. But otherwise كلنا سلم إذا تريزا ونسلم compatriot سايمون أندريا نسلم compatriot القاسمة تحت. topic بتاعت الليلة ده مهم جدا، وأنا عايز نجيب وقفة تاريخية عشان أحيي أجيال اللي سبقونا في ضرب بتاع النضال. وأنا ببدأ بحي الروح بتاعهم من منطلق ده. أنا برضو بحي generations الحسة بيسموه generation زيدة أو زد. أنا طبعا زيدة أمريكاني أو قاعدين يقولوا لكن إحنا بنقول زد. في العالم كله بما فيها بتاع الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان، لأنه أنا قاعد أؤمن تماما أنه في generation هم محمومين بقضية بتاع وطن ده، أنه وطن ده تكون آمن. ليه مهم جدا، وإحنا ما جايين نشمت كله أبدا. We are not coming to insult, but we are coming to inspire and reinvigorate this spirit of resistance and the spirit of revolution to our people. I am not saying that it is dead, or the current generation in South Sudan are timid. But and as much as I know that any generation is mindful of its circumstances, generations need to be inspired. You know, we belong to the X generation. I think most of us here belong to this X generation. The generations of the baby boomers are the generations of my mother. These are the people in their ages of from 60s to 78. These are the generations of my mother. But even, you know, the generations that came before them, like the silent generation of the 1928 until 1945, those who are in the 1990s, in their 90s, these are the generations of my father. May he so rest in peace. When you look into generations like the lost generations and the great generations, you will realize that Africa went through stages of a struggle where, you know, one generation hands the baton to the other generations, and the other generations hand the baton. And sometimes, if you looked, for example, from the times of Zaman Bitana's Dudud Bitana Bitas, Sabor, Bain, and Linas and Nafasho, Nas Lolik, Nas Bos Dew, Nas Ring, Wala Nash generation Bitanas Peisamas, Ita Betalga Anudas, the Nas Wolodom. For generations, either the greatest generations or the lost generations. But history will inform us. Anuhuma Gidru Isharoko Ma Ajial اللي صغار منهم, and they were able to inspire the generations that have come before them. And I think, we are here to inspire and encourage this generation, especially those in South Sudan, that they are to take destiny into their hands. This is very important because when generations that are older than you don't play their rightful roles in the village or in the struggle, a new generation will be given birth. And when I'm saying these things, I'm looking from our Lafon context. And when we talk about the Monyomijomian society, I know Fihaja is Monyomi, Fihaja is Mujin, Ahalna Belatuka, Naslango, Bagijamada, Lindu Mishirin Sana Badak, Bagayi Rujin, automatically. Asharki Denta Namandashuf Ayala, Somo ala Nahki that. And Fi Fatra, in Fatara Dinda Bukun, very active. And it is this time of activity that you have to do something, to your country. And in the words of Mandela, that we have a limited life to live in this earth. And when you live in this earth with this time span, you must do something for your country. And I think the generations now, that is Generation Z or Z in Kenya, have taken matters into our hearts. Into their hands. And therefore, when we talk about lesson learned, we're just trying to remind our generations, or the same generations that is in South Sudan, in that you also have a task and a role to play. And your historical roles and a task to play, bitokmun fi annu, into generations already. Yal betakum sugar. Itu jil al nasawin bitaino kulisa fitor bita wilada. Into jil al tarab al himaya bita balad da taga ala atiq bitaino. Into jil al iftarab bita dafin al ajyal al qadima. لأنه في مسألة حتى في الإنجليزي they are saying that the old must die, but the young may die. الناس الكبار حتما ما أنت كبير أنت ولا دك كبير. أنا أتمنى إنه I have to see the children and the children and the children of my children. But a time will come when I have to really leave this world. But now the fundamental question is, what am I going to leave as a legacy? Like what Mandela have said. So like I said, we were here to inspire the generations that are currently being burned by the brand of the war in South Sudan. It is their historical duty to shape a future for themselves. Today, if you look at Kenya, and I was listening, to one of these activists, he said that he's coming from Kawangari with 50 shillings in his pocket, not knowing that he will come back. But if he comes, then it will be a day he will remember and celebrate. But if you also meet death, he's doing it for that teacher whose salary are not always paid. Ben munasaba al-maalimin doman tankidana the yoman ma ana rafata to be a teacher. But that call, because it is something that is in the genes. I will definitely do it, but not at a primary level. He's struggling for these teachers whose salaries are always been denied by heritage. whose salaries have taken for projects and receive of presidents and dignitaries from other countries who are coming to visit. He's talking for that one person who has struggled. Today, if you look at the baby boomers and the silent generation, they're still alive. Sometimes when I look at them, they are very old. But they have done their rights to do this in this nation. They have served this nation diligently. It may not be to the perfections, but they have done it at a certain point in time. They deserve to retire in a country that can protect them. They are working for that person who is in a hospital, down in a bed, ridden, that cancer patient, that child that is not getting education, that one that is not getting treatment, that one that are not being vaccinated. They are fighting for these people. They are fighting for this generation. What are we doing? Now, when we say that we are standing in solidarity with Kenya, part of the solidarity is what we're doing now, that we need to inspire our people and say to them that you have a rightful role also to do the same in your country. Yes, they may tell you that, we don't have rubber bullets, only copper bullets. Dictatorial governments are always like this. But like I said, if you look at the fighting force in South Sudan, most of them are this generation Z and the generation Y, because it is Y, Z. Yeah. The generation X, Y, Z. They are the bunch of the fighting forces. They are the people that are either commanding or are commanded. They are the people who are always sent, to go and fight. They have a moral responsibility and moral duty to salvage this country from these few kleptocrats, and kleptomanians who doesn't have morals. They think because they are advised somewhere, and I like the advice of this person that Africa will never be at the mercy of the World Bank and the IMF to tell them what to do when their sole intention is to recolonize Africa, through this financial institution. We just need to be cautious and tell our people, you can't be taxing medicines. You can't be taxing, life-saving medicines. You can't be taxing kaunga, this maize flour. You can't be taxing everything in the country because you wanted to appear politically correct, that in your tenure, there was a development and there was a boost in the economy. At the expense of what? When your salaries are not meeting the daily market demand. This is an issue in Africa. And when leaders come and talk about these fancy things about I being doing these things, this time, because I heard William Ruto talking about they have to cut out the deficit, and about this year in time they will balance their balance sheet, that they will never have a deficit, but it is against the people. So we need to learn something from this. Because our country is not doing better, definitely. بلد بتاعنا ما قاعد تمشي كويس. احنا قاعدين نعاني من نفس المشاكل. بالعكس حقنا ده أسوأ لأنه احنا ما عندنا وسائل بتاعت إنتاج. احنا عندنا يعني عدم الأمن. اليوم احنا قاعدين نتكلم معكم ده في دواس ثقيل جدا في مناطق بتاعت ميوم. بسبب الروابط البقر احنا قاعدين نتكلم معاكم في مشاكل في باقي اجزاء بتاع جنوب السودان، وانه الاقتصاد بتاع البلد ده ما من كويس. اليوم الدولار للجنيه بتاع جنوب السودان قرابة على شيء بالدنيا خيالي جدا. يعني مقارنة مع 2005 يوم احنا بدأنا حكومة بتاع جنوب السودان ده، لأنه كان دولار الواحد هو 2.97 يعني قرابة عن $3. لكن تعال شوف شكل بتاع التضخم اللي حصلت في البلد ده. حصلت ليه؟ ده الكلام أخينا ده قال أنه إحنا ما عندنا نظرة اقتصادية، إحنا ما عندنا الآليات بتاعت الإنتاج، إحنا بنستورد كل حاجة من بلاد برا. عشان كده إحنا بقينا عرضة للدول بتاعت الجوار. كينيا، يوغندا، دايرنا إحنا نجيب موس، نجيب إبرة، نجيب جشاي، بحين هنا عندنا إمكانية ممكن كان إحنا نزرع أحسن جشاي في أبطلاننا، أحسن بن إحنا ممكن كان نحصل من اسمه شنو ده من ييدا. بالمناسبة ييدا كان قاعد يصدر لنا الكلام ده. So there's a lot of
صوتي اختفى.
صوت بتاعي اختفى؟
كان مشى ضعيف كده، رجع كويس الحمد لله. تفضل.
لو حصلت كده ثاني انت قول لي. الحياة بتاعنا بتاعت إنسان بتاع جنوب السودان ما كويس، ما حياة كريمة. الآن هنا عندنا خريجين كثير لكنهم ما بيشتغلوا. أنا في يوم من أولاد الصغار هو جنريشن زد ذاته، طبعا هنا كنا قاعدين نحاول عشان نوظف الناس دي، لأنه زول دي قرا أنت افترض تديه شغل. قال له والله يا دومانيك احنا قرينا جيولوجيا ده، لو كان قرينا أي حاجة تاني كان أرحم. فأنا قلت له الصبر كويس، لكن جات الوقت أن احنا نترجم الصبر بتاعنا ده للعمل to a formidable action. عشان كده دوما أنا قاعد أتكلم الناس الفرستريتد سيتيزنز بتاعنا أنه يا أخوانا احنا ما نتكل للغيادات ده. الغيادات ده ما تدلل الناس. احنا لنا مسؤوليه انه ناخذ المسائل اللي في ايادينا كويس. يعني بتسمع سلفا كير بيجي بيقول انه انا حاربت من اجل بلد ده عشان بلد ده، لكن في نفس الوقت انت دمرت البلد ده، انت خليت بلد ده بقى عافي، انت خليت بلد ده ما في فوق سبل بتاع حياه، انت شردت الناس، انت خليت المواطنين بتاعت الوطن الواحد بدل ما يعيشوا ويتعاملوا ببعضهم في منافع وتبادل المنافع تجاره وكده. نفترض جدلا انه ما في قروش خلاص، لكن اذا في امن والناس قاعدين ينتجوا، انا ممكن اشيل محصول بتاعي ده انا بوديه في سوق، في زول انا بيشتري وانا بشتري حاجه ما عندي انا بجيبه في البيت. This is what we are saying. كويس. لكن لأنه في فقدان بتاع رؤية وغياب بتاع خبرة لإدارة بتاع الدولة من قبل زول اسمه سلفا كير ده، الراجل اللي ده تحكم. قلت له يا غربيتا انت زول تافي بلاك، انت وصلت لحد النوني، الافكار بتاعك خلاص افكار غلط، بس انت حتقدم البلد ده كيف؟ So enough is enough. احنا حقيقة محتاجين انه نقول للقيادات دي enough is enough. وده الجنريشن ده يفترض تقوم ترفع الراية عشان انت تسلم لجنريشن الفا، وجنريشن الفا ما تسلم لجنريشن بيتا. لكن الدوما الكلام انا قاعد اقوله ده انه احنا ناخده كمسؤولية بتاعت اجيال، لانه زي ما انا قبل قلت انه في عمليه بتاع تواصل. عشان كده في بلد في لافون عندنا في حاجه اسمه تشم يمين والشمال. جنريشن يمين حتى في اللغاره هنا نجيف يوم بتاع تخريج بتاع ناس what we call initiation we used to stand, the right and the left, they would stand together as a people of generation. They will help themselves. Because how else can you stand strong and raise the nation if you don't have the two hands? So our people, our elderly people who are very wise, in the essence of the word wise is, خلينا نشوف أدوار بتاع القيادات الدينية، وده كلام مهم جدا اللي أنت قلته. وأنا كنت أتمنى من رجال الدين في جنوب السودان بالذات أمثال ناس كاردينال أنه ما تقف مع الحكومة اللي قاعد تتحد الشعب ده. لأنه الكنيسة دائما قاعد تقف على الحق. وفي قيادات في الكنيسة أنت لو شفت يوحنا المعمدان he confronted Herod. Herod killed him, but he did not relent. He was not fearful. He said, I will tell you in your face exactly what I am supposed to tell you. You are not supposed to be doing that, and it is a sin unless you repent. You are liable to a punishment. And he was beheaded. Jesus Christ himself, he chose to chase the people in his father's house. It was like, you can't do that here. My father's house is not a place for tax collectors and fornicators, and so he was there to chase them. He confronted them. St. Paul was able to confront the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the teachers of the law. You can't be standing with a regime. And I think we in South Sudan, in the Tariq, we have a history of the bishops and the cardinals like Gabriel Zubeir Wako. Gabriel Zubeir Wako was so very instrumental during the times of our struggle when we were in Khartoum. The late Father Hilary Aboma, he used to confront the security. He used to preach. Was he not preaching Jesus? He was preaching Jesus. Because the life of Jesus Christ is the life of a revolutionaries. He came to liberate the people from sin and amsal bitat khatiyya. That is why I like Bishop Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu said, if the human rights are not being respected by the state and they are killing people, وبيقتلوا في الناس بيغتصبوا بيشردوا في الناس، أنا بنزل من مصبع بجي في الأرض هنا مع الشاب ده، وأنا بنادل من أجل كرامة بتاعت الشاب، لأنه ما في منطق عشان أنا أتكلم عن حياة ما بعد حياة اللي إحنا فوق ده، أنه ربنا قاعد يجهز لكم محل في السماوات. السماوات ده it must be reflected from here. And if you can be able to fight all these challenges of our millennia, then you are qualified to go to heaven. Happy are those who are tortured for their martyrs. You know? And Jesus Christ said, whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. He was not saying that he is against armed revolution. Desmond Tutu said, I am somebody who is aspiring, and I will continue to be an activist that talk of a non-violent approach towards solutions to the problem. And I will continue to challenge it, but I well understand. I understand so very well why there is a frustration Because if you think that those of us who are talking to you in a manner that is so civil are not relevant, then I will stand with those people and I will approve. And therefore I will not condemn them to begin with, because they have a reason. And I am seeing this reason. So for non-violence, not to be suppressed by violence, all of us must change our mental model. And so I'm saying that even we in the National Salvation Front, when we took this approach, it is because we, as a generation, know the mentality of these generations of the leaders of the SPLM, that they, in any natural circumstances, are not even there to listen to the voices of reasoning and the voices of non-violence. And it will continue to inform our conscious. And so when you enter Naman Bitashuf and what is happening in Nairobi, I'm not ruling out that if these people are confronted with a force of higher magnitude, they will resort to that approach, because then you have forced them to reach what is called a boiling point, a titrant end. You know, in chemistry, there's something called titration. This is when you see a color change, then you can start to say that the reaction has happened. You know? So our faith-based people must know that they have a moral responsibility. They shouldn't be like the Bishop Taban. They shouldn't be like those bishops. And I am now getting very frustrated by this Cardinal Armeo, because he wanted to follow the footsteps of the likes of Taban, who wanted to side with it. If you wanted to be with the president, please leave the work. Let other people of integrity, they take the whole thing. You can retire. You can be an emeritus cardinal. It's not a problem. Father Cipriano Chipi is a brigadier general in the SPLM. I know him personally. You know, Gira was a brigadier general. Apparently, he died. There are people who ended up living priesthood. Saturino Ogure, the Monsignor. He didn't choose to stand with the governments of the then Sudan. He spoke to them, and he told them in not many words that we are asking for a federal system of governance. You are refusing it. But a generation that will come after us, and these are probably the baby boomers and the generation X and the generation millennia and the generation Z, who voted for this country, will fight a never-ending war. And if they opt to separate from South Sudan, there is nothing as a force will stop them. This is a man, we hold him to the highest of the standard. Right? So we still have a hope that the church will continue to stand as the voice of the voiceless, the voice in the wilderness, a voice that of a shepherd who is ready to leave the 99 sheep and go and look for that one lone sheep that wanted to always go astray and bring it back to the clan. This is what our faith is anchored on. We live as Catholics, we will die as a Catholic. And whether you're an Anglican, you're a Presbyterian, you are a full gospel, the teachings of the church is just very clear. And if you follow the Bible, this is our the people of civil society. You know, and that is the irony sometimes. When I was listening to most of the members of the civil societies that were speaking now, and I compare and contrast with what they were speaking during the time when they were هم كانوا في اديس ابابا او في خرطوم، وانا بفهم الكلام ده. انا ما في زول بيشيل يثبتوا كده عشان نطبقوه هنا. Most of them are talking انه والله لازم process بتاعت خلينا نبدا بالاول، انه process بتاعت اديس ابابا ده was okay. Everybody was given the opportunity. The parties were asked, they put their positions, and they negotiated it, and at the end of the day, هم وصلوا للسلام, right? ما في مشكلة. And to them the process was consultative. It took considerations which are views which are الجماعة الكل, and there was nothing wrong about it. What is lacking is the maturity and the political maturity of the leaders of the SPLM and implementing these things. So what is wrong with maturity anyway to begin with? What happened to their maturity? Did their maturity vanish away by virtue of their being in Juba, or what happened? And who do you want to exhibit this maturity? Now, who is mature here if you compare between Riyadh and Kir? But they still have the guts to throw stones at the other, parties without necessarily pointing at hands to the party that is actually violated. I understand. Dimaga to kushatima. Anu fi munazamat bitar mujtamaat al-madani da bitar marahil. هي عليها وسائل بتاع الوظيفه، ما قاعد تكون بطال. انت لو شغلت راسك، لكن انت قاعد تتعامل مع مسائل عنده علاقه مع امور وحياه بتاع الاجيال يا زلمه، وبالتالي انت المفروض تكون زول جاد. الكلامات اللي انتوا قاعدين تقولوا فوقه الروت كوزز بتاعت البروبلمز، وانه لازم يكون في ديمقراطيه. These are elements of, every government that is supposed to be a government of the people in these modern times of ours, in these modern eras of the Federation, see that. But why is it not in South Sudan? So when you are talking about the constitution making process, it is an integral part of even the agreement of 2018. Why was it not implemented? So you can't tell me that the whole 2 or 3 months that you are sitting in Nairobi is just to produce a permanent constitution and or a social contract, as if the whole thing that was lagging was these two issues. You have done nothing. And when there's no what we call a political will, especially from the side of the IAG, some of these civil societies will come and tell us that these leaders don't have a political maturity. Hey, they also divided themselves as civil society that belongs to the government and civil societies that belong to the opposition. I was reading one of the civil society who was saying, the issues that were raised by Machar are very genuine, and therefore the mediators must look into it and must look into it, in a manner that is honest and sincere. These are issues, if it is not addressed, it is going to create a problem. The same language, just as the political forces are talking. So what is the difference between you and Machar? Yes, you may be an aggrieved party, and that has been my problem. Some people would say, well, we are not there for position. Ya Zalame. you need a certain form of authority in your hand, so that you go and implement, because you cannot be here suggesting and proposing, and then you think that your proposition and your supposition will be taken into consideration. None of these parties are ready to implement your suppositions. The whole thing has to be left to the political organizations, and that is why they were at a certain point in time left out, and the likes of Wani Michael were saying, the process has to be inclusive. Such kind of things are akin to a life that sometimes is not genuine. You must be truthful to what you are saying. If something is bad, it has to be said that it is bad. And if you are to condemn, then you are to condemn both parties. I wanted to conclude and end with the fact that Yahuana, this, like I said earlier, we are not here to, example, condemn this generation with the agenda, but we rather wanted to inspire them. But people who are in the position of authority, as I was looking at some of the MPs, they were saying things here and there about what they are supposed to be doing. Yani somebody is writing to the president, I am urging the president, to consider doing 1, 2, and 3, and you are a member of the parliament. That is supposed to be your oversight roles and responsibility. Agala, we need to kunu jadin anu inda na vidor. By now, Zolze Kirda, if we have, of course, Taban, they will say that, oh, this guy is a dictator, he will kill people and all these things. The truth is that even amidst these dictatorial tendencies in town, the MPs can also inspire the people, and the people can, as a result, also rise up. But they chose to use methods that is not helping people. In the parliament, you must talk. And I was looking at Emilio Diambo, that senator in Kenya. The way he spoke is very inspiring. She can be a role model to many young aspirants who are looking forward to participating in political life, because she's very courageous. She's telling them what needs to be done, and she's straightforward in her deliberations in the parliament and the issues that she's raising. So we expect our MPs to be doing the same thing. And that one came during the 2007 constitutional reforms, that the Kenyans have done in their politics, when they came out with a new constitutions that offer a space for a multi-party democracy. And that is what we want. I mean, in South Sudan, you can't have this one-party system and you expect you will get out of this problem when you have multitudes of political parties and political organizations that are stakeholders in this conflict. And I always say that you cannot factor this country to the desires and the wishes of the SPLM, because this achievement is not the achievement of one person. The SPLM was a conglomerate of different political ideologies, and leaders from different class of works. They have amassed it because they have a responsibility and a duty, to salvage this country, and they did it with the convictions. And generations from all these ages have participated, and so handing this baton to the next generation, we must make sure that we hand this country with a pillar that will enable them build their future on it, and a future that will be determined. And by the way, I always say that some of us are now, whether we like it or not, soon will have to exit the political scene, and it shouldn't be a crime that, your time comes, you have to exit, and then you leave the political space to the generations that is come. So in conclusion, again, like I said, there is a lot of lessons that we can learn from Kenya because of the will of the people that you cannot, suppress. Our young men and young women can emulate this, because the issues that they are facing are pretty much the same. Issues of underemployment or unemployment, for that matter, issues of nepotism, issues of connections, like that one person who was saying that in other countries they will ask you about your qualifications, about your skills, about your experience. But when you come to the African countries, a typical African, setup, they will ask you who sent you to us. Who is your connections? That is what they ask, and I think we have to get out of this, so that whether this is generation Alpha or generation Beta, we will be looking them at their skills, and somewhere there we need also to sacrifice, and I think the sacrifice is now. I thank you so very much, Teresa. I'll stop here, and if there's anything later that I need to add, I will add it.
Yeah, شكرا كتير compared Dominic. إضافة بتاعك قيم جدا toward the topic of what lessons GZ or GZ in Kenya teaching the South Sudanese. شكرا كتير. Bulldozer, the floor is yours.
Thank you, compatriot Teresa, compatriot Dominic, the SC engineer Warile, and also let me pass my greeting to all our compatriots and the audience down here. Thank you very much for this topic. Anama bonus katir lakin ana bonus ajet besit. Lakin kubalana ma bonusu the topic. Ana pero rasul risala besit le shabab te Kenya biloga aluo Swahili. Ana badak ana bidak alfi kalam bita. Okay, thank you. Sasa wacha ni kusema asante sana kwa vijana ya Kenya kwa kazi ambayo nyinyi walifanya jana kwa nchi ya Kenya. Hiyo ni kazi nzuri sana, na mimi nataka kusema asante sana. Nyinyi endelea na hiyo kazi, kwa sababu sio rahisi kwa nyinyi kukuja kuongea kwa shida ambayo waliendelea kwa nchi yetu ya Kenya. Mimi si Mkenya, lakini nilikaa huko kwa Kenya kwa muda mrefu. Ni kama nchi yangu. Sasa nyinyi unaanza kazi nzuri sana, na mimi nataka na kusema nyinyi endelea. Sisi watu ya South Sudan tutakuja mbele, kwa sababu Afrika zote hawa leaders ni wajinga, wakoro, nataka tu kuchukua pesa, kukula na kukaa na family zetu na family yao. Lakini nyinyi mtu ya Kenya, endelea mbele. Asante, na Mungu akubariki, na Mungu akubariki nchi ya Kenya. You know, there was a yeah, Sukran. Yani, I saw one of the video. It was very, very emotional. Apart from the other videos, there was one video also. This youth was saying that William Ruto must go, Salva Kiir must go, and Museveni must go. But what actually, one of the video was very emotional. The guy...
Wait, Bulldozer. Huh? Let me play the one, Ruto, Ruto, 2, Salva Kiir, 3, Museveni. They say they must go.
Go ahead.
Let me play this one.
Ruto must go! Salva Kiir must go! Museveni must go!
So this is the G generation, Z generation Z. They're also calling. They say number 1, Kiir, Ruto must go. Number 2, Kiir must go. Number 3, Yoweri Museveni must go. You go on.
Yeah, thank you. You know, these youth, they are not sleeping. They are seeing what is happening, and they know exactly what these leaders are doing. And the 3 leaders that they put together, these are the 3 countries that are connected together, and these are the most corrupted leaders that have mentioned their names. And these are the leaders, actually, if we want peace in East Africa, those 3 leaders have to go in order to give peace for East Africa. William Ruto called himself hustler, and is one of the most corrupted guy. When he came to the office, the budget that Kenyatta used to have was completely just a small budget. But when William came, he tripled the budget. Just bita makta bito, bita akil malabis usunuki de besa jadel. Yani kutu talata marami na alkan Kenyatta kutu. Imagine this guy. Since William Ruto became the president of Kenya, he has traveled more than 50 times to different countries. Yaki, are you come to the office just to show off, or you come to do the job? For these are the things that you need to go. The same thing with the Salva Kiir. Salva Kiir have traveled more than anybody else, or just wasting of the money. Umay do tiara, bewujur tiara ta doula tani bilif mo, or be dafa millions of dollars. SNK berendu tiara. Museveni on the other hand, ma travel ketir, lakin kad suppress ke ajiri Ugandan, kad amula jatina ka basis in Ugandan, yani ma der talabara yomdag, Zolal can go with the ajiri de Bobby Wine, but now I don't know. Us could win bigger, Anamaro, Luther is still allowed the election, I don't know. These are the thing. Nas de talata nafarde, umonianas and demir East Africa. For video ta shabab ajere ta shabab ta Kenya del yani fitani ali zol gadi kelim. This is a very emotional video, ajama. Zol de gulogi gumini beg ogirwa fi Malta protest. Uma di gurusumo when the best 50 shilling fi jebito. Alo bar kabo BMC fi town fi Malta protest. Lo bimud o mud le dawlato o mud le hak bito. Uma barfo lo berija high wala uma berija high. Lo uma rozatu lo sala high o berija kef bet uma bar because akir gurusu wendu ya kem sin shilling alo bar ka masalat bo BMC mo fi town. But he's determined to fight for his country, to fight for his generation, to die for his generation. South Sudanese, what can you learn from this? What sacrifice can you give to your country? What sacrifice can you give to your generation? What sacrifice can you do in order to bring change to your country? Kenyans are doing their best now. Shabab Gom. And they don't care. Lumon bimut, walamon be high. For us in South Sudan, we have been threatened that Luita Roafi protest, Mafi live video, Ajere bullet, Ajere, there's no, Ajere de, Gumbleshata Mafi, Kulu live bullet. But under Asal Makwenle, live bullet de, Shakal best town tanin, wala African Bisaka Lukulu fi South Sudan. Malunas Bitak Tabur went on the street to protest, and there's no live video shot at them. Majunubin Kelitu Masu Ayin Kalamde. If he say that there's no live fake bullet for South Sudan, they only have live bullet. Aizol Altala fi Malta Muzakarat bi Durubu, Maluma Durubu na Singapore, Altala fi Sharia, Tinin Mara, Yom Sabatasar, they went on the street, and Yom Arbashrin, they went on the street. Why they didn't shoot bullet at them? Shabab, you guys need to wake up. Ofrude, itum, kan kelitala fisharia, esen lofi ajab gum, and then you guys have the right to say, okay, manaj bele desatu biga kalas, fogu kesimu. Finas tanin, they have more leverage than others. Some people will go on the street and nothing happened to them, and some of the people will go and they die. So lazim shabab igum for jama num de zaman de num. Some of us, we have done our part, and now we are doing our part bigger fi ajerede. If media will zaman zapi ja guluna MC on the ground, we are ready to go on the ground to sacrifice. Dor bitak sunu. What are you going to do for your country? What sacrifice are you going to do? Fazemana kilimana bonus kitiri. Ana best there ala video the best, and then kilitu masuma. Yani what Kenya are doing, the sacrifices. Alumon gadamulu. Zol go min belet makamsin shilling. Kamsin shilling there is less than $1. Okay, it's less than $1. That's the only grus alu in the bito. Alu bro arkab maslat. Esen BMC fi Malta anjere for protest. Kalam Beleto, Kalam Nasbito is ready to go there and he die for the people. So listen here.
Today, as I get out of this house to go and demonstrate, I really want to come back alive and healthy. But if I don't, I pray that my death or arrest will ensure the future generation doesn't go through what I've gone through. I only have 50 shillings in my pocket as my fare to town. I don't know how I will come back to Kawangware, but the most important thing is I must show up for my country that is bleeding. I must show up for my future children and grandchildren. I must show up for that poor old man who can't get out of his house. I must show up for that cancer patient who's waiting for a fundraiser in order to go to India for advanced medication, since my country can't afford high-tech cancer facilities but can afford luxurious things for all the politicians. I must show up for that graduate who has done for 7 years without getting a job. I must show up for that policeman who's afraid to speak out by orders from above. He arrests people because if he goes against his bosses, he will lose his job. I must show up for that person who's in prison for a crime he didn't commit because the justice system is corrupted. I must speak for the deaf and dumb, for they have no voice. I must stand up for that crippled person who can't afford a wheelchair and can't get a job because of disability. I must show up for that business person who has never made any profit due to high tax and licenses. I must demonstrate for that old man who retired 20 years ago but has never received his pension. I must show up for pregnant mothers and unborn babies. It's almost certain that either both or one of them might die during delivery because our health system is a joke. I must show up for our ladies who go to Saudi Arabia out of desperation because they can't find jobs in Kenya. The slavery and torture they go through is unimaginable. I must show up for that teacher who has created professors, engineers, athletes, and many respectable people in the society, but her salary has never increased. And now they want to add more tax to it. I must show up for that voter who always casts his vote faithfully, but the votes get stolen. I must show up for those Kenyans who saved for so many years to buy land and build houses, but later the government comes and demolishes them in order to build affordable housing. My question is, why is this not happening in posh estates like Karen or Runda? I must show up for all our freedom fighters who are tortured and killed under unknown circumstances. They must know that their sons and daughters are not weak anymore. They must know that we are tired. They must know that the blood of courage runs in our veins. I must show up for Raila Amolo Odinga since he has no energy to fight anymore. I must show up for Harry Thuku, James Buta, Dedan Kimathi, Martin Shikuku, so that they know their death meant something. I will show up for Ronald Ngala, Tom Mboya, Masina Muliro. I will picket for Atieno Oneko, Bildadi Kagia, Kontalela Rapsamoy, Esau Kamati Oriedo. I will take in the tear gas for Pio Gamapinto, Musa Mariama, Koinange Wambegu, Jomo Kenyatta. I will carry placards for Otenyo and everyone who fought for us when we were not yet born. I must show up for human activists, founders like Professor Makau, Maina Kiai, Dr. Willie Mutunga, Kiretu Murungi, and Peter Karethi. I must show up and join my brothers Boniface Mwangi and Senator Mutata, plus all the activists, for we are the only ones who can save this country from falling into the abyss. I must show up for every oppressed Kenyan out there who feels like they can't fight anymore and they have given up. And when the police throw that tear gas, I won't run away. No, I won't wipe my tears. I will let them flow freely. I will cry, weep for my country, shed tears for all the poor people who can't afford 3 meals a day. I will take that time to mourn all those who have been killed due to police brutality. And if they arrest me, I won't resist. And if they torture me, I won't do anything. I will welcome in the pain with a smile, knowing that is the pain that will save my country. I will surrender myself to the arms of the same police that I'm fighting for to get a salary increase and stop living in my bad houses like chicken. And if while demonstrating, a bullet comes my way, I won't duck it. No, I will stand firm and block it from hitting another person because I know blocking it will block all the bad things and injustices happening in my country. I'll close my eyes, open my arms, think about how my death will save my country. I will smile one last time, go on my knees, and say one last wish to my Lord. God, save my country. Lord, help Kenya. Tell my mom, wife, and kids that I died so that they can lead a better life. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. This is one of the very, very emotional speech by one of the Kenyan. He was going for the protest and he already gave up his life. It doesn't matter anymore if he die or he come back alive. If he get arrested or anything happened to him, it happened because of his country. To save the future of his country so that his children, his grandchildren can have a better future in Kenya. What about us, the South Sudanese? What sacrifice can we do? What sacrifice can we give to our country in order to save the generation to come from being in the same situation that we are in? We were born in the war, grow up in the war, participate in the war, and probably some of us will die in the war. So what can we do for our country? I will leave this with you. Shukran.
Yeah, shukran كتير Bulldozer. I appreciate you play also this portrait from one of the protesters in Kenya. We really want to also wish them well. They have really showed the world that Kenyans are really well organized, and they know their faith. And I want to salute the generation Z of from 1995 to 2009. This is generation which is very conscious about economic and social and political issue. I salute them very much. And with that being said, my brothers and sisters, those who are in YouTube, please join us in Clubhouse, because I don't want to go more in YouTube. Just join us in the club house. The room is there. It's also our diversity too. Thank you very much. I think the next person is